side, we laid out a roadmap on our side, Dave, of kind of what we want. And like Jared said, we're not new to this adventure, I guess, and into this. We've all been on this for a couple of years now. Not as long as you, obviously. It's why you're the expert here in this matter. But we've been down this path, and we've kind of got a good grasp on it. Then, compared to what some of your other podcasts have been in interviews and stuff, we're not debating you on this kind of thing here. I'm not going to. We're not going to ridicule you.
There's no debate anymore. It's over. The debate's over.
It's terrible, man. I was telling these guys, I was like, man, the first time I came across you was, of course, one of the popular YouTube videos of you and Flat Earth, Professor Dave.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you didn't just reach that screen and punch us in the throat in like 30 seconds, So
it's amazing, and YouTube promotes that video. Like, you search anything with the words Flat Earth in it, that video comes up. And they don't realize how many people that it's waking up, because, people that have common sense, intelligence, they see right through that. Then there's the other people that are just blind globe followers and fans of the globies, and they watch that and they go, why is Professor Dave behaving like that? And then they email me. Once they email me, it's over. I'm like, oh, here's why. And I give them a list of videos that YouTube would never show them. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you guys have seen the Mind Shock breakdown of Professor Dave. Have you seen that?
No. No. What's that one?
So on my app, if you go to the web button, which is, whoops, let me get rid of that. You go to the web button, which is right there, and you scroll down to debunking the debunkers, and we have a pretty face of Professor Dave. I'm just loading a test version right here.
Okay.
And you go into that, then right down the fourth one down, okay? And it's Flat Earth Dave Humiliates Professor Dave is the name of it. And basically it's a guy that he films he reviews the interviews, not from a flat earth side or globe side, just from logic and reasoning. Right. Yeah. And he keeps score of fallacies and ad homs, and Dave got almost 400 points. Professor Dave. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'll check that out there. Yeah,
it's really good. The guy has some great breakdowns, and he's actually in the homeschooling section. All of his logical flat earth breakdowns. So if you're having a hard time, if you're like, oh my God, my friends keep sending me this and that, and I was like, well, I just go there and watch his videos, and they'll sort you out. They'll sort you out. They're like, wow, that really isn't an argument. That is a fallacious argument.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Well, that's something just to give you some heads of where we're going on this thing too. Some of the questions when I ask, I'm sure you've been asked before, but so you can get a little thinking ahead here. Again, we've tried to, everybody on our side of the table started the same way. We all started as Globers. We'll talk about this on the interview when we get live on it. But we're trying to find the best pros and cons. You've been around this long as we have. What's the best argument you got against this thing? What's the best proof you got for this that you could show somebody that's new to the game? And we want to kind of couple those highlights because there's so much evidence there.
All right, we can go there, but there really is not one answer for that. It depends on who you're talking to. It depends who you're talking to. Sometimes a Bible verse is the best thing. Sometimes, the fact that we can see too far. Sometimes, high pressure next to low pressure, flat water. There's all these different things, and it's a whole soup. It's like, what's the best ingredient in the vegetable soup? Okay, is it? Is it
Jared's obviously right? I'm sorry.
No, it's the water. It's the water. It lays flat.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, cool.
Well, I liked what you said, that this is it's literally just us, sitting around the living room, chilling and atmosphere. And we're that way anyways. We pull all-nighters and talk about this stuff and watch, all the stuff that's out there. And most of it is yours and Hibbler's and all those guys. So,
but before we get on this stuff, Dave, two couple things real quick. Time-wise on here, I think we booked an hour with you on here.
We can go
most of the things you very rarely go an hour on your thing. They rarely go like 2 or 3 or 4. And I'm like, what do you do with time on your side today?
We're good. You're my only interview today, so I'm open after. Awesome. If we're having a good time, we'll keep on going.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good, bud. Sounds good. Second thing, is there anything on topic wise just to be, again, you are a guest and we're super, super appreciative of you being on here. Is there anything on here you want to stay away from?
No, I want to talk about anything. There's absolutely nothing off the table. However, if you want to talk about that, things like the New York event or that school in Connecticut that sounds like a beach, and stuff like that. You just got to speak in ways that YouTube won't strike us down. And if you want to talk about the juice, happy to talk about it, but don't say what it is.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think we'll pretty much like our show in general is anything that points back to Christ, points back to the gospel, and is biblical based. And we think the flat Earth is one of the main deceptions that hides all that.
Let's get into it.
I mean, stay away from politics.
Yeah, no problem. But everything, all of the nonsense in this world points back to flat Earth, and flat Earth points back to the Creator. Okay.
Yeah.
So everything. It's so stupid. Everything points to the Creator, but where is it going? And how are they trying to divert you? Let's get into it. We're gonna do a whole show before we do a show. So hit record because I already hit record.
So who told you that? Episode number 10, I think.
Are we counting still? We're terrible at counting.
We've got flat out one of the best experts on the show today, Mr. Dave Weiss, Flat Earth Dave. Pun intended. Dave, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. Love talking to anybody that wants to talk about flat Earth. So,
yeah,
you guys fit the model. Thanks.
So, Dave, we kind of know your story. You're one of those guys that was completely opposed to flat Earth, right? Like you didn't want to look into it at all. What was like the kind of tell your story of what was the one thing that convinced you to actually look into it?
Oh, well, when you say I was one of those guys that didn't want to look at flat Earth, I don't think anybody wanted to look at the flat Earth. I think everyone thought it was a mistake. Because we've been programmed. You got hats off to the controllers with the way they've programmed people. They've done such a good job where people refuse to look at it. And then if they look at it, they look at just propaganda, nonsense, stuff that no flat earther believes. And they think flat earthers believe that, They think flat earthers believe that, we're a disc rising up in space because they've programmed us to believe that. And that's absolutely ridiculous. You search flat Earth and you come up with this, that's what they want you to believe we believe. And so, I got into it just like everybody else, where I refused to look at it. I laughed and mocked at the people that told me. I banned them. I said a million times. I banned them from, commenting on my podcast, on our social media. And then Sophia Smallstorm, a great researcher, I was having a conversation with her, and I was like, Sophia, there's so much deception in this world. We were talking about some fake plane crash that happened. And she's like, oh, Dave, it's worse than that. I think the Earth is flat. And I was like, are you kidding me? And literally, while I was talking to her for like 2.5 hours, and I literally come from my house in Connecticut. I'm all the way in New York City at the podcast studio. And while she's talking, she's a long talker. I'm sitting there on Facebook banning people for suggesting I look at flat Earth. Seriously, I'm banning people. I was like, you're just out. You're out. You're out. And then she goes that, and I'm just like, are you frigging kidding me? And she sent me a couple of videos, Mark Sargent's Clues, Eric Dubé's 200 Proofs. And that back then in 2014, it was easy to become a flat earther because you watch one of those videos and YouTube goes, oh, you like that? Here's some other new videos that people put up, all real good related stuff that the way an algorithm is supposed to work. But now you search flat Earth anything, flat Earth Dave, flat Earth Horizons, flat Earth Proofs, flat Earth, whatever. You get the same videos every time. You get the same algorithm. The algorithm points you towards nonsense. If I sent you like, hey, Dave, how does circumnavigation work? And I send you a video on circumnavigation, the next video that pops up from YouTube will be an anti-flat Earth video. Nothing to do with what you're looking at. Okay?
Yeah.
And so they make it very, very difficult. That's why I came up with my app. You guys know the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. It bypasses the algorithm, and it helps so many people wake up, and it's doing fantastic. It's doing a great job at waking people up. It's like, because everybody, people are like, what? Hey, this book actually by Eric Dubé, who I've never spoken with, is a great book. It has everything. It's actually a really good book. It has everything, all questions in it. It's just fantastic. But the problem is when you're walking down the road, you're in the local pub, wherever, and someone brings up flat Earth, you can't pull this out of your pocket. You don't have it in your pocket. Everybody has their phone in their pocket, and it has all the resources on there. So that's the reason I made it, and it's turned into a whole thing for me. So
that's awesome. I'm surprised you haven't talked to anybody really on this deal, because like we said, y'all are one of the the founding fathers of what we're calling the flat Earth movement there and stuff. I'm surprised you haven't got to collaborate with him there.
Well,
is there a reason for that? Or
he would be considered the founding father if you had to really put it on anyone. He was one of the first guys out there. Although flat Earth has always been here, he's just the one that kind of brought it to the attention. Why I don't talk to Eric Bay is it's not that at all. He doesn't talk to me. He calls us all shills. So I don't even like talking about it because it makes no sense. If you go to his site, there's 10 pages on how I'm a Jewish controlled shill for the mainstream, Illuminati. It's like the craziest thing ever. So it's just like I don't pay any attention to it. I don't promote his book though. His book is actually on my app. If you go into the book section, I think it's right there. It's the second book right there. So
that's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah. You're not a very good shill if you're.
I'm about to say if you are, you need to
there's a lot of people out there they call shills, and I'd say give me 10 more of them. Like in the truth movement, they say Alex Jones is a shill. He might be. Okay, give me 10 more Alex Joneses, and the whole world will wake up. Okay, Alex Jones woke me up. He's the one that got me on my truth journey. So is he a shill? Maybe, but he's doing a fantastic job of waking people up.
Right. Exactly. I know he's still working. I know we're still working on him on the whole flat Earth movement there. But I think Eddie Bravo's got an ear to him. I think a bug out there a little bit. So
you saw my interview with Alex Jones, right? I was on Info.
No, I haven't.
I was on InfoWars with Eddie Bravo and Sam Tripoli, and I was on for a good half hour, maybe 45 minutes, and I slayed them. And here's the thing. Half their office is now flat earthers, and I won't mention them by name, but half the office and are flat earthers, including Greg Reese. You guys know who Greg Reese is, right? He does the Greg Reese report, the Reese report. Yeah, he's actually speaking at Flattoberfest this October 20th and 21st in Las Vegas, and it's going to be a phenomenal presentation. But all of the office woke up. Alex was going absolutely crazy, going he wants to plan a trip to Antarctica, and he literally was planning a trip to Antarctica, and the whole office was going crazy. This is going on for like 3 weeks after my interview, and then all of a sudden I hear through the grapevine, through my contacts, that Alex called a meeting, all people in the office, and they pulled him into one meeting. He walks into the room and goes, anyone that talks about flat Earth again is fired, and he walks out, and that's it. To me, my guess, I'm not there, I don't know, is Alex is allowed to do whatever he wants to do until he gets that phone call. Don't talk about the school that sounds like a beach in Connecticut. Don't talk about Antarctica anymore. And then he has a choice to make. Now, listen, does that mean he's controlled? Let me ask a question. If you had an empire like Alex Jones, and we're waking up people, and that really was your goal, and even though you sometimes act like an ass clown, if they came to you and said, "Hey, stop this," and that if you don't, they're going to shut down your entire operation, and now you can't reach anybody. I think you bend a little bit. I think he's walking a fine line. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think even too. I mean, take it to the extreme. I mean, I'm not that old here, and I got a lot of life ahead of me. You're talking about taking another empire. I mean, today's society. I mean, taking another empire is probably the least thing they could do. They take your life now, and unfortunately, we'll say that off the YouTube thing there. But yeah, that's a reality here.
And then there's the whole thing that Alex Jones is not the original Alex Jones. Everyone says that he's was the comedian that allegedly died. I'm spacing on his name. It'll come to me in the middle of the show. I'll yell it out of nowhere. Bill Hicks. And whether he's Bill Hicks or not, I don't know if it's the same Alex Jones. Maybe he's been replaced. There's all sorts of crazy stuff going on in this world. Here's the thing. I don't like focusing on that. I like focusing on what we can prove. Can we prove what's going on in outer space? No, we can't go there. Can we prove what's going on in Antarctica? No, we're not allowed to go there. We could get there, but can we prove the Earth is not a spinning ball right here in our homes without even leaving our yards? Yes. Right. And we can do that all the time.
So on that point, basically we've done an episode on, because off air, you made a great point. Whenever you're talking to somebody about this and you're approaching somebody, it really depends on what camp they're coming from. If they're a believer in Christ and the Bible is their reference of truth, then you approach that through, Scripture. You show them from a scriptural standpoint. if they're not, and they want observable, measurable, repeatable scientific proofs, then you go that way. And obviously, you're the expert that we've brought on this. We've done an entire show on the biblical side, so we're excited for you to just go to town on scientific proofs that are observable, measurable, repeatable. So, like one of the first questions I've got jotted down here is, what is the if you don't have much time to speak with somebody and you were just going to give them 1, 2, or 3 proofs that's going to kind of set them on their journey, what would that be?
So again, it's all dependent on the situation, the person, what their interests are, what their intellect level is, and all sorts of stuff. Just on the app, I want to point out we have a 24/7 biblical channel, and we have some great biblical documentaries and videos. And what I tell people is, if you're a Bible believer, you need to watch both of these channels. You need to just go there and pop it on a big screen on your TV, or if you can, or whatever. And if you're a Bible hater, Bible denier, you need to watch these videos. You need to watch these no matter who you are. Okay. Because they will teach you so much. Now, there's so much controversy in the world over the Bible, and you have the Bible is kind of dividing the world, but it's not the Bible that's doing it. It's demonic forces, I'll say. There's influences in this world that divide us, and I think the Bible has the truth in it. I don't want to say so much truth. I'll just call it the truth. And I think a lot of it is just so many layers to the Bible. There's the top layer, which is like you look at it, and that's where all the arguing comes. But if you can get below that top layer to the real stuff, it's kind of undeniable in my mind. And again, you have to. We're here. Our main purpose on Earth is to gain maximum intellect and then share it with others. Okay, and I think that this whole place is a test where they want to see if we're going to use our God-given gifts, right? And stay in the present. The present is a present. And to connect with this realm. I think we're all part of this living realm, and they've tried to separate us from it. First, they start off with putting rubber under our feet so we're not physically connected to the world. And then they got the television programming and just constantly changing and changing. Going back to my story when I was first waking up in 2014 to Flat Earth, Sophia had just told me a story about, she goes, one day they're going to normalize pedophilia and literally separate the classes. And it's like everything that she said is happening right now. It's unreal. Yeah. It's unreal. So again, the amount of programming that's going on, and it's fascinating. So you don't have much time with somebody, you could talk about water being level, just say, like it depends on where you are. Like you're in a park, like, oh, see that pond? I said, how would you describe the surface of that water? No, it's flat. And if I put another pond next to it, would it be flat too? And how many ponds would I have to put in a row before I would see a curve? And the person would be like, well, I don't know. And so the other thing is high pressure next to low pressure is one of my favorites. You can't have high pressure next to low pressure in a lab, in nature, anywhere, ever, without a physical barrier. People, well, gravity, and then they get into the whole gravity thing, but I like preempting them. And I'm like, if I had a box, a box with all the air sucked out of it, so I got a glass box, all the air sucked out of it, no matter where I am, what altitude, or anywhere, if I opened up a valve on the side, top, bottom of that box, anywhere, it's going to equalize instantly. It's going to suck the air up into it, up and away from gravity. So now it's equal. So how can we be in space? Right. And, you can elaborate more and more and more on these things. And then the other thing is we can see too far, because when you talk to somebody, you go flat Earth and they're hearing it for the first time, what comes to their mind is boats over the horizon. I've seen it. No, they haven't. They saw a deceptive film where with the 3-masted ship in school. And if you actually go back and watch that, it's literally it's a comedy show. Then they're going to be like, what about seasons? What about, what about sunsets? And then when you get into all of those, and that's the other thing, if somebody's like, well, they just want to make a comment on the fly, let them have their comment, because they're not going to take the time. Just the other day, quick little story. I have, I have my internet friends. I have my whole family of flat Earth friends across the plane, around the world. Don't say that in front of a globe. They'll be like, oh, you got around the world. I walked around my house. Does that make it a sphere? Okay. So, and we're on the water, and I was going to hook up to, I have a mooring, and he was on my mooring with a bunch of people, and they never talk about flat Earth. These are local friends. They never talk about flat Earth, but they all know I'm a flat Earther. So they all talk amongst themselves, right? And I'm just waiting. And my mooring, I wish I had a picture of it. It's called the Flat Earth Yacht Club. It's a flat mooring. It's got the map on it. It's got a flag. It's fantastic. And it's got my QR code. When people tie up to the mooring, they like scan the QR code and they become flat Earthers. But he goes up to me, he goes, Dave, he goes, if you think the Earth is flat, this is the first thing he's really said to me about it. If you think the Earth is flat, why is your mooring round? I go, because the Earth is flat and round. And he goes he stops for a second. He goes, and he didn't know what to say. And I said to him, when you're ready to have a big boy conversation, we'll grab a beer together and take some time, and I'll explain it to you, right? Because you don't get it. If someone just wants to make a comment and go, they're not interested in learning.
That's what we're always pushing out there too. Anytime we're having these conversations, you got to have some ground rules on respecting. They got to be intellectually honest with themselves to be able to say, I may be wrong in this, or I may be something to learn from this other person here, though. Yeah, that's what you're talking about. But they'll throw a jab out there, and they'll be like, but in their head, there's no way they're changing their mindset in this little 30-second snippet. So that's not even worth it. Yeah.
So here's a tic tac. This is actually the mooring.
That's awesome.
It's kind of fun, right? So fun. It says the Flat Earth Yacht Club. Yeah, awesome. I got the flag. It says FEYC. It's got the Flat Earth map. So people tie up to it. They don't know what to make of it, right? And it's pretty fun. Pretty fun.
That is awesome.
That's super cool. That's super cool there.
Well, Dave, I got a quick question for you. You mentioned, you have a community, and you built, and we really want to promote all of the different platforms that you've created, and you built in your app called a friend finder, and it's how you get blue dotted, and you can be on that. You kind of elaborate, how that all came about. How did you figure out? Because in one of those that really fascinates me is you have a clock that's just based on the flat Earth. You can have a clock in the app. And how did you figure that up? And can you kind of give us a little more detail about some of these platforms that you've built?
So it all started when I'd be talking to people about flat Earth, and I wanted to show them an animation like this, right? And there was a couple videos online showing how the flat Earth worked and everything. And then I've been looking for it on YouTube, and now I can't find it. And it's like, and I said, you know what? This would be so what I did, a longer story, and I'll tell it because we got a little time. I created physical clocks.
We got plenty.
Yeah, I created actually. I got a clock that was 24-hour hand, so it goes around once every 24 hours. I put a sun on it. I put a flat Earth map on it, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I made about 150 of them, and I was selling them. And they were really expensive. They're and to ship and to make, and then they also in shipping they would break. And it was a whole nightmare. And then I came up with the idea. I was like, you know what? And the problem with the app was the moon. I couldn't put the moon anywhere. There's no moon hand. And the moon, and also to get to get the sun to migrate in between the tropics, that you couldn't do that either. And so I said, what if I got a physical clock with to have a third hand? And I went to a clock manufacturer and I said, hey, I want a third hand that goes around at this rate, which would be the rate of the moon. And they're like, yeah, we could do that. The prototype will cost you $250,000. And I'm like, okay, that's not happening. Right? And then I said, wait a minute. I had made an app already. I'd already made another app. And I was like, you know what? I can make this as an app. And I put a few $1,000s into it. I was like, this is fantastic. And I put it out there for free. Just wanted people to have it. No, actually, I made it for myself. I didn't even make it public. And I would show people, and I'd bring it up. I go, look, here it is, and you can see I can make the sun move in and out. Look, I'm going out to it's September, October, November, December, and the sun moves out to the Tropic of Capricorn. And they're like, wow, this is amazing. Where do I get this app? So I made it public, and people were like, hey, could you put a time lapse on it? Could you put this on it and that on it? So I started adding more and more features, and it started to cost a lot of money. I said, you know what, let me charge $3 for the app. I'll just make it $3, and that way I can put more features on it. And then I said, put the daily video on it each day. You know, when the YouTube started hiding all flat earth stuff. So I said, I'll just put a featured video here. When you click the featured video, you watch that. And then guess what? YouTube doesn't get to suggest. I suggest because I put it in a playlist. So the next video, the next 5, 10, 15, 20 videos that come up are from my playlist, right? And by the time you get through those, before you finish and YouTube tries to throw you off course, you're already a flat earther. So I did that, and I said, what? I can make the archive here. This is all of the videos that were ever featured on the app by month and year, right? And then I said, what? What about the most frequently asked questions? You hit the question mark, and up come the top questions that people are. The reason it's loading, I just loaded a new test version. So these are all of the questions that people have, and in here are the videos that YouTube is hiding from you. So I thought that was enough. I said, what? I'm done. I'm done with the app. I'm done. And then people are like, well, can you put this and that? And can you put a biblical on here? And so I made the more resources page, which has tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff. Right.
Yeah. It is phenomenal.
It's got the curve calculator in here. So if you ever somewhere, just hit the curve calculator. So you're looking at something and someone goes, well, that building is, 26 miles away. And you type in your eye height, and it'll tell you how much of the move should be missing. And then you're like, wow, I could see there's no curve with my naked eyes. So you have all of these resources. Yeah. And then people are like, what about books? So I started putting books in here, right? So I created a book section, and then people are like, where do I get flat earth stuff like this cool t-shirt, with
yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
And so I created my t-shirt shop, and that's also at my website, flatearthdave.com. And you go in and you can see, let me see if it pulls right up here. Yeah, you can see all the different shirts that I've made. And so this is just a place to find, cool stuff. Cool stuff.
Yeah.
That and it's not just that. Whoops. I'm gonna get out of there. It's where am I? It's got tons of. This one guy created these flat earth coins. Okay. They're very cool, and they're like 20 some odd, they're like $25. It's got again, I just loaded this for the first time. They're really cool coins. And, it's like having one of those in your pocket. You show it to somebody. It starts the conversation. Like, what do you mean the earth is flat? You take out the coin. All sorts of stuff, right? Flattober. You got any of you guys going to Flattoberfest in October?
Dude, we've been talking about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
You guys are close enough. You can friggin' drive, right?
It's still further to get to Vegas than I want to get to Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's probably
like 1,400 miles.
Yeah. All right. So that's you want to fly. It's going to be great. And just being together with those people. I've got these big banners that says win $3,000 in chips, casino chips, by offering one globe proof. Play as many times as you want, no purchase necessary. And then we're all going to be out there, and everyone's going to be out there using their app, using whatever they have to just show these people that they don't live on a ball. Again, tons and tons of flat earth related stuff up here. Anybody that has a flat earth related service or merchandise, hit me up. I'll put you on the app if it's cool, and I'm kind of want to create like a place, like, hey, I got to buy a gift for somebody, or I want to get something cool. Go here and find something and support other flat earthers, right?
Well, this is us hitting you up. We'll be sending you stuff.
And then also, I created the homeschool section for real intense stuff. One of my favorites is Schooling Globers. If you really want to learn on some topics, this is Austin Witzik. This guy here, my lunch break, talking about the old world, hysterical. Watch it with your kids. Watch it with your spouse. So, it's amazing stuff. Then we got Crow 777 Radio. Any of you guys subscribers to Crow 777 Radio? Anybody?
No.
You know about them?
No.
Do you know about them?
No.
This is anyone that has kids that are about to go to college, take that college money and buy the kid a house instead. Okay. Send them to Crow University. It's $8 a month. Okay. And he puts out 2 new episodes a week. And then there's over 400 old episodes, and each episode's 2 hours. Right. So I say, here's your college education. Watch 5 episodes a week, 2 new and 3 old. Right. So all the kid has to do is listen to those, and he could be bike riding. He could be gardening. He could be kite surfing. He could be doing whatever he wants, listen wherever he wants. And at the end of the week, he's listened to 5 shows. That kid is now smarter than a college kid just from the first week alone. Okay. It gives you more useful real world information on everything from farming to childbirth to taxes to navigating the legal system to just everything. And of course, flat earth and everything else. But yeah. I say this is, I would hire a kid that went to Crow University, $8 a month, no financing. Okay. Than a kid that graduated from Harvard. Okay. Because
that's awesome.
Smarter, real world person. Tons of stuff there. Yeah. And then we have games. And so this is the trivia game. I call it Earth Trivia, and you can play with your flat Earth friends or play with Globy friends. And why it's hysterical when you play with Globers because they don't know anything. Okay, even about their own mom. Okay,
exactly.
And then this one's coming soon. It's a tile game, and you can play with other people. I could like hook up with you. It's like, hey, Cody, let's play, and then we'll link up and we can play together. And it's a memory game, and you figure out where everything is. Very, very cool stuff. And then again, different language playlists in different languages. That area is growing. That's
awesome.
Some of what the app does. And then you mentioned the friend finder. Let me just show you the worldview. People like flat Earth is dying. Yes, according to Google, the searches for flat Earth are dying. Do you remember back in up to 2017 when you searched on YouTube, it would tell you, you search Donald Trump and it's like 17 million, hits, whatever.
Yeah.
The day flat Earth beat Donald Trump, who was number one, they took down the scoreboard. Okay. Yeah. So people say flat Earth is dying. These are just people that have my app that have the friend finder, that have logged into the friend finder. If you don't log into the friend finder, you're not a blue dot. Look at this. Okay. This is crazy. Right. And it's not just America, the UK, you can't even see it. It's just turning into a big mess. Right.
But that's the thing.
One big blue dot.
Dave, this is, aside from this, what the like you said, the big corporate overlords, whatever it is, are doing, this is attack, of the enemy. We're from the spiritual side of things here on a lot of this channel. And that's the big threat of the enemy is to think that you're alone. You're the only one that believes this and you're isolated. Whenever, these testimonies that we share, with our belief and stuff, whenever you have your relation with somebody else and you're like, oh, I'm not alone. Oh, you went through this also. The tool you have here is just case in point that this is not just a, one-off rogue sect here, people that are, the weirdos. It's growing in such a massive movement here though. And they want to suppress that as good as they can. It's crazy.
And the thing is, go ahead. Don't forget your question. I just want to make a comment on the app. People like Dave's always there selling his app. He's just selling his app. He's in it for the money. So when I got into flat Earth, I was doing a conspiracy podcast and I had my own business. I literally left corporate America, started my own company, which I never thought I could do, but I put it on my manifestation board and the universe conspires to deliver everything you focus on. And it delivered me my own company where I had tons of free time. I was making more money than I ever imagined. And then truth got into the way of business. I had to make a choice. And and then I walked away from everything that I worked my entire life to do. I walked away knowing that and when I said, how am I going to pay my bills? I went to pay my bills that day and I just gotten a small check from Apple and literally it covered my last bill to the dollar. Literally, I was, paycheck to paycheck. I wasn't paycheck to paycheck. I was just like, I was like that day I had to pay the bills. I didn't have much money. And that came in and I literally down to the last dollar. And I was like, okay, that's a sign. And I asked for a couple more signs and I got some friggin' signs. Holy crap. And so I walked away from the whole thing. And now the app is doing very well. People are like, oh my God, Dave's going to be a millionaire. You know what? I'm going to be a billionaire. But that's not the reason that I'm doing this, okay? Because the money that the app is making right now, I'm still literally paycheck to paycheck because all of the money that comes in from the app goes right back into the app, into development, okay? It's crazy what the app is going to do. Just to show you guys, I don't know if you guys have the app. I don't think you have it yet. But of course, I can't show you because I'm testing a version. But the new profile section is incredible. I can't show you because I don't have it right now. But it's going to be literally like Facebook, where you can see people, pictures, posts, videos, whatever you want, information about yourself, and you can say, you guys could put in, hey, we live where you guys are. You're in what town?
Arkansas.
So you can put Arkansas, and then you can put in, hey, you're interested in meetups, you're a single guy, married guy, whatever. And so you kind of have this profile so people can kind of scope you out and contact you and, start a conversation. You can do video calls on here too. And you can group calls and join these groups, and people are really getting together and having these great conversations. But the big plan is once everybody's on the new profile, you're going to be able to fill out like, hey, I'm a biblical person. I'm in real estate. You can check out all of your likes, dislikes, skills, and everything that you have. And then let's say I was going to Arkansas one day and I said, I want to move to Arkansas. I could put in real estate agent in Arkansas, and bam, I could find all of the flat earth real estate agents, and then I could contact them. And because guys, we only want to work with other people that are awake and aware, right? Remember in 2014, 2015, Globers would say, you got good luck getting a job. Good luck. You're isolating yourself. No, we've isolated you. Flat earthers only want to work with other flat earthers. That's it. And we're going to take over. So,
so we're doing a flat earth Dave dating app. It sounds like.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. It is a dating app. It's a true friend finder because I've never met a blue dot I don't like. Right? Every single person is interesting and fascinating. Just by clicking on a random person around you, male or female, you meet them. You have more in common with that person than anybody you're going to meet in a bar, anyone you're going to meet at a party, anyone that a dating site is going to put you together with, even a job site trying to link people's work skills up. You're going to have more in common with that person, and you're going to find some synchronicity, something that works for you guys. I would say, all of my best friends I've met through flat earth. They're amazing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And people who ask questions, right?
Yeah. Well, it's people that ask questions, people that use their common sense. Evil looks at us as useless eaters. We are useless eaters. And you know what? I kind of get where they're coming from because, you look at some people, there's not a better definition for them. Okay. They're literally useless eaters. Now, do they deserve to be crapped upon? No, maybe, probably not. Okay. So, but and that's why I said the highest purpose of life is to gain maximum intellect, use your mind, use your God-given, gifts and share them with others. Set an example for others to raise up, There's so many people and just not from just religion, from whatever their point is, that they come out and they come at you. I'm gonna use Christians for an example. There are Christians that come out there and like, unless you accept Jesus, it's the only way to the Father, and you're going to hell. They're not going to bring a single new person to Christ. Okay, they're not going to bring anybody. The way you do it is you be Christ-like. You set that example. You stay at that higher vibration, and then people will be like, that's really interesting. That guy's really very interesting. And then you have conversations. There's people, like the late Rob Skiba. We have, the channel Effed Up World. He's a super strong Christian, but he never forces it on you. He just shows you the way. That's interesting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And, and Robbie Davidson, there's all these people that set a great example, and that's how you.
Yeah, well, that's too though, because people a lot of times will say, they may not remember 100% what you say, but they're 100% going to remember what you do. And the actions speak better than the words. So by these things, I think you bring up a great point. Now I think we echo that. There's so much to this browbeating going on, Bible thumping on people, and that it scares more than it promotes. And it's just, I think if you live it there, that'll be more appealing to them than just slamming them.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I don't think anybody has it all correct. I don't think anybody is 100% right on everything. Right. I mean, I'm not, well, maybe I am, but I'm just kidding. So, but you have to leave some opening for change. You have to leave opening for change, for new information. You flat earthers, you're never going to change your mind. No. We changed our mind. We went from the globe to flat earth. It'd be a lot easier to go back to the globe because that's where the majority is for now of consent, of belief. But I'm not a big believer. I'm a big knower. Question for you guys. Where do I live?
You want us to answer? Are you
okay if
we answer?
Yeah.
Connecticut.
Okay. Do you believe it or do you know it?
Yeah, very good question. I believe it. I do not know it. I've not been to your house and see that. So I
Okay,
believe it.
so you believe it.
Yeah.
Why do you believe it? Because I told you I'm a trustworthy guy.
Yep.
You know, you're looking at me, you're reading my micro expressions, you have God-given intuition, you have God-given senses, and you can kind of tell when someone's telling the truth if you use those senses. I don't think anyone is capable of lying to you and not being exposed if you use your senses. Okay. Now, if we had to go and verify everything, like physically, go on the internet, go research, go, we would never get anything done. We'd never get anywhere. Like I got to go to the store. Well, do they have milk? Well, let me call the store, and do I believe the guy? No, you just go because you believe it and you go. So we have to walk through this world, believing and trusting. Okay. Because that's kind of the world that how the world works. But I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I believe what you say until you burn me, and then I don't believe what you say, and you're finished. So yes, I do live in Connecticut. You still only believe it, but now you believe it a little more. Okay. So just be careful when people say I live on a globe.
I believe it.
You believe you live on a globe. Why? And no one can ever come up with an answer except we do stuff.
Yeah.
Well, so we plan on. I mean, we're setting up shop here. We're not in a rush. We'll take as long as this needs to take, and we've got a bunch of questions. Denton right here, he's kind of our question guy, and me and Cody are.
He's been quiet. We've been quiet.
He normally just tries, to get muscle in between us at some point. Me and Cody talking so much, but so we do got a lot of questions, and for those that are just listening to the audio, the podcast side of this. We will have links to everything that he was showing. We do encourage, go to YouTube, go to the video and watch everything that he's pointing out and mentioning. And so Dave, on that point real quick, and we'll jump into the questions as far as proofs. But what I know there's down the rabbit hole, there's flatearthdave.com and then there's flatearthpodcast.com. Is that correct?
So you just made my point. There is the flatearthpodcast.com, but everybody forgets all right? But Flat Earth, so there's a whole bunch of websites. Are You a Blue Dot? Flatearthdave.com, the Flat Earth Podcast. Everybody can remember flatearthdave.com. They all go to the same place. It goes to the flatearthpodcast.com, but easier to remember, less letters to type, easier to spell, not that it's hard. Flatearthdave.com takes you there. There you can find the app. Okay, the app is $3. You get 95+% of the app, and it's plenty. If you want to use, you can see the friend finder, but you can't message people. You can't use the game section, and you can't use the profile section unless you subscribe. And the subscription is a whopping $11 a year. Okay, whopping. It's like buying a margarita for somebody and not leaving a tip for the bartender. Right. Yeah. No, and then the other thing is, there's some people like, the young people like, I'm on my parents' account. I can't do that. I have on the app, if you go into the friend finder and then you go on the top left, there's a referral button. You can set up a custom referral code and then give it to other people. When you tell them about the app, they download the app, they use your code. Once you get 11 points, you can trade that in for a free subscription. Pretty easy. Because I want everyone to have it. Well, Dave, why are you charging for the app? I was like, would you like to pay the monthly bill, which is over 5 figures? It's a 5-figure number every month. Would you like to pay that bill so I can keep running this app? It's like, why do they pay you for your work? Why do you ask your boss for money? Okay, you need to survive.
Yeah,
so the app itself costs a ton of money to run. So I've made it so it's super cheap. It's really a no-brainer. And anybody that complains, maybe truth isn't for them.
Hey, Dave, on the point of this, again, this is the first time I've got to really dig into your app. I knew it, saw it on the App Store there, added my wish list on the App Store here too. This is the repository you got there is something that's amazing. I didn't know it was that deep, and I'm so glad you shared it with us on here today too. What's other right now, Facebook, YouTube, all these things censor the crap out of this stuff. Are there any other places you go to research yourself right now that you have repositories, or where do you go find stuff for you?
Well, because I'm so connected in the community, people, that make really good videos, they always send them to me a lot. There's a great channel called Flat Earth Banjo. He's the one that does all of the Southern Flight stuff, and he's been going to TikTok. Tons of truth on TikTok. People are like, I hate TikTok. It's making people short attention span. Yes, that's true, right? But it's uncensored. Yeah. It's uncensored. So what he does is he finds all of these great TikToks and puts them together in like a 15, 20-minute video, right? Then he gives me that link. I feature it on the app. And now people are getting, you don't have to go on TikTok for a day scrolling and to pick out the best. He's done it for you, right? And so these TikTok compilations are great because people, unfortunately, do have a short attention span. That was me. Oh, you want to teach me something new? Okay, I'll give you 90 seconds. All right, I'm being generous. Yeah. Okay, and then that's why my YouTube channel DITRH is all short videos. All my videos are under 5 minutes, or most of them are under 3 minutes, 2 minutes, right? And and it's just to get your attention. It's a preview of a great movie, right? And once you got your attention, you now want to see the movie. Now I'm like, bring it, When Iwaranon came out with his 5-hour video and everyone started sending it to me, and I was like, nah, I'm not watching that. 5 hours, not watching it, not watch it. And then 11 p.m. one night, I was kind of cleaning up some stuff, and I said, let me just throw this thing on in the background while I'm doing some stuff. The next thing I know, it's 4:00 in the morning, and I'm holding my head. I'm going, holy crap! Went to bed, got up, watched it again. Okay,
that's so funny. We did on our end when we first saw the ones and the history of the Earth. There, we started trying to talk like him. That was our big thing after that because we would say we say about the cabal of priests all the time. It was always so funny.
That was the video that kind of took our knees out. That definitely was.
And right here on the more resources page, which is the web button, here's all of his good videos. So
is he still around?
He is now. Some people say he flipped. He backpedaled on some of the Sataria stuff, but just very little. And guess what? He's actually incorrect in some of his backpedaling. So I say, as I said before, not everybody gets everything right. Take the good, leave the bad. Okay. And make up your own mind. And, you guys said at the beginning, you said, hey, I've shaped your beliefs on some of this stuff. Now, I could look at that and like, the way I took it was you guys saw my stuff and it helped you research farther down those roads. Don't believe anything I say. Don't believe anything I say, right? Go and verify. Trust nobody. Believe nothing. Verify everything. Isn't there a Bible verse, something like that?
Yeah, you definitely. Yeah. But no, you said the same thing. Like you said, the late Rob Skiba, he said the same exact thing. He's like, this is not the world according to Rob, or not according to the Bible. This is according to Rob, and go research things. So what you did is definitely, you laid out in front of a path and said, that's interesting. That makes sense. We're thinking this makes sense. Let's do our own research now based on what your leading was on. So
absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Then you got some questions here?
I got all kinds of questions, Dave. For the audience that's not viewing this on just the podcast, not the video, you've got a Psalms 19:1 shirt on.
Yeah.
Can you explain to us what that is and why that's so important?
So Psalms 19:1, it says, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. And that was Werner von Braun, who was a Nazi scientist who was brought over. And if you believe in Project Paperclip, again, I believe it's all a whole bunch of stories, but the story is that we brought over these Nazi scientists, and Werner von Braun took over NASA. He's the one that founded NASA, a Nazi scientist, right? Took over NASA. And on his gravestone, I'm trying to find it. I have it. I've got so many things now. I'm kind of lose some things. But on his gravestone, it all says is Psalms 19:1. That's it. As his birth and death, Psalms 19:1. So what's up with that? Why is that? Now, is that rubbing in our faces? Is that a death, a whistleblower thing, death request, or is it revelation of the method where they always have to tell us what they're doing? Okay.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
That's what that's about. And people like, well, if flat Earth was true, it would be in the Bible. Well, try page 1. God separated the
Yeah.
waters from the waters and created the firmament, you know? And it's
Well,
like,
and
okay,
we did a whole episode of going through creation and the biblical proofs that we feel is very, very clear. In your research, have you found that the flat Earth model and what you've researched and found out, does that point back to a creator, in your opinion?
ask that question again, please.
So does all the research that you've done, does it point back to a creator?
So before flat Earth, I had looked into, you know, I was born in Jewish and not a real strong practicing family, and we kind of, you know, really didn't follow anything there. And I looked into Christianity and I looked into Buddhism and I looked into all these things and kind of just dabbled it, and I kind of just really didn't buy anything for all of my life, well, for everything. And and then I don't want to say I'm an atheist, but I guess the best way to describe me was I was an atheist because I didn't believe in anything. I believed in evolution. I believed in the Big Bang Theory, because I never looked into it, because I never properly looked into it. Then when I was discovering, like, wow, the globe is impossible, and then the flat Earth. Well, people say, well, how does the flat Earth prove the creator? Because, you know, I could believe in the creator, but I believe we live on a globe. I'm like, that's great, but you have a choice not to believe in a creator.
Yeah.
That's always just the Big Bang. Yeah. Flat Earth is intelligently designed. There is a creator. Okay, period. Right? You have no other choice. The reason that the elite don't like, you know, hiding flat Earth. Why would they lie? Why all of this to lie? They, you know, they can't even keep a BJ in the White House a secret. How could they do this? And the answer is because if you find flat Earth, you have no choice, but you have no longer the ability to deny the creator. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's where it put me. And so now I'm like, okay, there's a creator. And so now that's where I have to find my relationship with the creator. And that's also a line that I draw, right? When I bring somebody to flat Earth that was not a believer in God, I say, now you know there's a creator. And they're like, yeah, I do. And that's where I draw the line. I say, now you have to figure out your relationship. I can't say, now that you know this, if you don't go to Christ, you're going to hell. Okay. Because then you've just deprogrammed them. You've just reprogrammed them. Okay. So I always say it's a personal relationship. Reason being, because when I, excuse me, when I was in my, when I was first learning stuff, hold on a second. When I was first, you know, researching pre-flat Earth, I'd be listening to a podcast, writing down notes, pages of notes. I'm like, this is great. You know, they're talking about 9/11 or whatever, and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden they'd be like, hey, let's do a little prayer or something, you know, or they'd mention the Bible. I'm like, oh, a bunch of religious fanatics. Rip out the pages, throw them in the garbage. I threw out the baby with the bathwater. Okay. And so am I like that now? Absolutely not. You know, my the Flat Earth podcast, I was doing it with Matt Long, who is he's on the Strong Bible Guy, right? He leads his flat Earth discussions with the Bible. I lead with science. It works great. The thing is, if you lead with science, you can reach every single person that has a mind that is able to think scientifically. If you lead with the Bible, anybody that doesn't lead with the Bible is going to look at you as you're just a religious fool, not. Okay. So there's room for both. You need both. There's people that came to flat Earth because they were Bible believers, right? And then they actually started looking at the Bible and they started looking at all of this stuff. So I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm saying because of who I was, and I know there is, I don't know, is it a majority of the people out there are from my previous side of the fence? So I kind of like to come from that. I like to bring them to the shoreline and go, look, it's flat, it's stationary, it's created. Okay, deal with it. All right, that's it.
Yeah, right. Well, and we believe that those agree with each other.
Absolutely.
Scientific proves the biblical side and biblical proves the scientific side.
Yeah.
And it's all the same.
Well, see, what Denton's question tying to the previous one. That's why I wanted to ask you and stuff, because from our research right now, we've not seen anything.
There it is.
There you go, right there. Werner von Braun. Yeah, it's very cryptic in there, but it does. It plants that seed in your life. What was he really thinking there? What was the motive here on it then? But I think I know what it was. I think he finally, like you said, I think it's a deathbed confession on my part. That's what I think he is.
I think it's, you know what? And I go back and forth. I think it's revelation of the method. Okay. Revelation of the method, for those that don't know, is people throw up their hands like, well, they're learning about conspiracy, learning about flat earth. They're like, what difference does it make? I'm only one person. I still have to work in the system. No, that's not true. You're one person, but you're more powerful than all of the lies in the world. And we are here born with God-given free will. You know, I maintain all of my God-given rights. I relinquish nothing. That's all you got to remember. Okay. And the elite, whether you believe this or not, the elite know it. They can't break God's will. They can't break your God-given rights. Right? Governments don't give you rights. They try to pretend that they hold them and then they give them to you. They only give you back what you relinquished to them in the first place. So
Sure.
One of the rules is they need to tell us what they're doing. They need to give us a fair fighting chance. They can't put a bear trap in the woods buried in leaves without putting a sign saying, hey, watch out, there's a bear trap over here. So they tell us everything. Sounds crazy. That's what I believe. A lot of people believe that. Lots of evidence for that. And they appear to be doing it. So they're telling, they always tell us what they're doing. I think this is one of those cases. Right, because okay. A lot of people like they like to talk about Project Paperclip and how you know, they brought over these Nazi rocket scientists. Well, rockets aren't real. Rockets that go to space aren't real. So the whole space race isn't real. So the whole bringing over the Nazi scientists, I think they were all in it together. It was all just a big stage show. Okay, and you know, there's even evidence that Yuri Gagarin or whatever, the first Russian astronaut, and then who was our first guy in space? I'm spacing on his name, but they're the same guy, same actor, same actor. Okay, same actor. Just Google. Just because I'm spacing on their names. Wait, it's I can't remember. Just the first two guys in space. Go Google them and look at their pictures side by side. It's like, it's mind blowing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they look like they're the same actor. I could be wrong. I haven't looked into it deep enough to make a determination, but it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, there's so many doubles, but
yeah.
So Project Paperclip is a psyop in a psyop. Okay.
Yeah.
It's the story that they tell us, so we can use it. But it's just a story. But it's exactly. Like a theater of war. Everything's a theater, right?
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. We're on the same side of that too. Again, we're conspiracy theories aside from this stuff. To think that there's always like, you know, us versus them, good guys, bad guys, and to be that rudimentary on it, then you're missing so much of what the plan is out there. To think these other places aren't aligned or aren't being controlled by the same strings, it's pretty naive in the grand scheme.
Well, and you had a great testimony of why we're passionate about this topic. We're not passionate about this topic because it's conspiracy. We're passionate about it because, like we always joke, like, yeah, Christian, that's great. You're going to heaven. Good for you. But for all those that don't, you know, believe that there's a creator and don't believe, you know, that they're divinely made and have a purpose, this matters. And so your testimony, you know, is basically perfect. It spoke to that. And you also nailed it on the head when you're talking about how they almost have to give permission because we believe everything's a spiritual battle. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the enemies learned a long time ago, it's easier for you to give them permission to control life than it is to try to spiritually in the spiritual world battle good and battle God and his you know, his angels and then it is to just deceive you and lets you give permission to them. Yeah. So that was a good point.
That's good. So what I was saying before you brought up the Werner von Braun thing there, Dave, is like, again, our research said the same thing, though, that we haven't found anything that in our research that's gone against the word of the Bible for what we found there, too. The canonized Bible, too. Have you got to dig into any of the what Rob was calling, Skiba was calling extra biblical text? Enoch, Jubilees. Have you looked? Do you get into those at all? Or
I haven't researched it myself. I have heard, lots of people talk about it. Yeah. Pastor Dean Odell, some people think is a madman, but he's a genius on the flat Earth topic, and I love the guy. He's amazing. Some of his he goes a little deep into the end of the world stuff, and some people don't like that. It's all right. Remember, baby bathwater. Don't throw the baby out.
Yeah.
It's interesting. What? Go ahead.
No, I'm just curious on that stuff. Too. We look back at too. Again, our truth axis we use is always back to the Bible in our world here too. But like you said, with not everybody, that doesn't resonate with everybody that you're coming up to. But the Enoch stuff is definitely one. It's got a mysticism about it today, but it's prophesied in the Bible and in these things that there'll be a time in the end times where that may 100 years, 1,000 years. We don't know in the grand scheme of how much we have left. We're not trying to date set.
Or next Thursday.
Right. Or not, next Thursday at 10:30. Yeah, we're not saying things, but there is going to be an awakening. It says it proclaims there's going to be an awakening, an increased truth coming out. We think this is like this big wave coming right now.
I think I 100% agree. I mean, there's so many things in the Bible that are literally happening right now. It's all happening right in front of our eyes, but people have been blinded to the truth. I mean, there's so many people that have no idea about anything that's going on in this world, and they're being led by their noses like sheep, right into the slaughterhouse. So
yes, it's sad. It really is sad too. And I mean, these things. I think it's something as a Christian side of it right now too. I can't. You were talking about earlier. These people, they may be. Do they deserve to be crapped on? Do they deserve to be passed by? No, in our eyes, they're designed by the same Creator that designed us, though, and they deserve respect and stuff. And just because they're not the same place in the journey as we may be or you may be there doesn't mean they're any less valuable. There's a soul in that body that needs to be saved in our eyes, and,
right? And
we're trying to lead.
So me, speaking for myself, not speaking on behalf of anybody else, is this is all a war for your soul. This is the most valuable thing here in this realm is souls, and evil is trying to gain them. That's my belief, and it sounds kind of biblical, if you will. And
that's very biblical.
Yeah, but that's how I see it. There's this great website, I think Dr. Wilson or something. I can send you the link if you want. And it says "What Are Souls?" and it's about a 10-15 minute read about. It's a question and answer about what are souls, and where they come from, what do they do, how do they work. Fantastic! It's very, very interesting. And so we have our main soul inhabiting this meat soup, and then we have other minor souls that are family souls that are with us. And you can never be awake when your main soul leaves your body. So when you're sleeping, your main soul can journey, and then it comes back before you wake up, right? And it's all about expanding the mind of the Creator. It's very interesting stuff.
In that case, my soul ain't getting very, very far away from my body because I don't sleep a lot. So it's far there.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they can travel any distance they want in a fraction of a second. So
yeah,
maybe it's all okay. It's all okay.
Yeah. So Dave, I guess we kind of danced around a little bit too. Just so we know too on this, where you can write. Would you say are you a Christian right now? Are you still learning right now? What's your belief right now at this point in time in your journey?
Again, that's something that I kind of don't like talking about a lot, but it's okay to ask me, and I will answer it the best I can. I view my beliefs, my understanding, my relationship with the Creator as very strong from what I view a Christian point of view is. So, I don't want to compare myself, but there's many Christians out there that are not nearly as close to the Creator as I am. Okay. And there's people at all different levels. So, if we sat down and, we're checking off all the check boxes, I don't know if we completely agree on everything, but I am completely happy and satisfied with my relationship with the Creator.
Fair enough, bud. That's good. And I think it's right too. It's just the Christian flag gets waved so much, and so much in Western society right now that you're like, well, you're Christian, but I just saw you just go, cheat on your wife or whatever it may be. You're like, is that really Christian? So they use that flag, and it taints a lot of other stuff, though. But you're right. Truly knowing the Creator, in our eyes, truly knowing Jesus. That's boxes the all details at that point.
Right. And you know, and being that good person, you know, that everyone should be, whether they know the creator or not. I mean, there all of it ties together. I had a good point I was going to make, but now I can't remember it. Came and went.
It's so early. By the way, this is way earlier than I usually get up. I'm usually at work by now, but we had to get up at like 4:30, 5 o'clock this morning. I'm like, I don't know what Dave's schedule's on, but this guy needs to have some noon interviews or something coming up. I need to push him for that.
That's normally when you're going to bed.
Yeah, this is true.
So, Dave, I got a question for you, and we've been debating this a lot recently. In your opinion, what is the moon? We cannot figure out the moon in the flat Earth model.
You know, that's the joke I have between Zach Zambala, Good Times for All channel, who he's one of the Globebusters, and we look up at the sky and like, what is the moon? What is it?
Yeah.
What is it?
What is it?
What is it? I don't think it's a physical object. I think it's literally just a few miles above our head, the moon that we see. You know, when you look at the moon in the clouds, it lights up the clouds that are right near it. Like, why aren't these clouds and clouds far away? So that only can happen with a local light. Well, what if I go in an airplane and I get up, am I going to hit the moon? No, as you move, it moves. You're seeing it relative to your position as you move around. You know, when the moon follows you down the road, it is following you because that's where it's rendering for you. So what is the moon? You know, the whole have you guys looked into the moon map at all? The moon map of the Earth?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, fascinating. And you know, what you say, what is the moon? It's a light. It's a light. It's a lesser light in the sky, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And
look at that picture.
Yeah.
That's like right there. Yeah.
And so what is it? It's tied to women's reproduction cycles, right? It's the same cycle as women's reproductive cycles. Is it something that delivers and removes souls from Earth? Maybe. Want to know how that works? I have no friggin' idea. It's just there's lots of ancient cosmology or myths or legends about how the moon, it does deliver souls to Earth, right? There's a whole thing, people celebrate their birthday. You're supposed to celebrate the day you were conceived closest to the new moon or the full moon, I forget. And that's your true date of creation. Interesting.
Huh, never heard that.
Yeah.
No, I hadn't heard that.
And so what is the moon? Well, you look at the moon, it casts your shadow on the ground. You could read a book by it in the middle of nowhere when there's a full moon out, right? So the moon is a dusty rock 250,000 miles away, reflecting sunlight so bright that it can cast a shadow on the ground. This is a rock equal distance to the sun, maybe even closer, that I'm closer to. How come it's not bright and casting a shadow, casting light on me? Okay.
And
it's more reflective than the moon. What?
Yeah, and how come that energy off of that also too is cooler temperature,
colder than the
how is anything you put energy into reflecting off, giving negative? There's no weapon that does that.
So when you're closer to a light source, something that has light on it, it's brighter. The farther away you get, the dimmer it is. So I'm right next to this rock, right? This moon, 250,000 miles away, can cast my shadow on the ground. I can read by it. Okay. Yeah. Does this rock send enough light to me? Okay. So the heliocentric models just died. It's over. It's over there. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the other thing is, we see the moon has that is fully lit. A single source light leaves a hot spot. Always.
Right.
Okay. So am I telling you what the moon is? No, I'm telling you what it's not. It's not a rock flying in space. Okay. And when we go to a new moon, nobody's ever seen the moon. Okay. No one's ever seen the moon. When the moon goes new, the shortest anyone's seen, I think, is like 62 hours or something, or maybe it's just over 2 days or something like that. No one's ever seen it. No one's seen it from the International Space Station. No one's seen it from an airplane. No one's seen it from infrared telescopes. No one's ever been able to find the moon in the sky. Maybe that's why they call it a new moon. No one's ever been able to see it under any conditions other than, when there's an eclipse, a solar eclipse. No one's ever been able to see the moon approach the sun, eclipse the sun. You see something eclipse the sun, or exit the sun. No one's ever seen it. We just see that shape Okay.
Yeah.
So let me just show you. This is I created this. This is my sky screen. I got a light 10 feet on the other side, and it looks kind of just like the sun or the moon. Okay. And Paige is over here, and I say, hey, where do you see the moon? So I go over her point of view. She sees it right there. So if I put a quick little X on that sheet, she sees it over here. Well, I see it over there at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That gets into the whole thing. And that's the same with the sun. We all have our personal relationship with the sun, right? Have you looked at the similarities between the sun and the SON, the SUN and the SON?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Amazing. So, and again, people get upset. I think it's very in line with the Bible, where we are these souls. Maybe the stars are where we live. The stars are angelic perfection, right? The reason the stars don't move is because they've reached absolute perfection in God's eye, and there's no reason to move. They're just there. And then our soul leaves there, inhabits these meat suits, clunking around here with amnesia, trying to figure out, expand the mind of the creator, figure out all of this stuff. Okay. And maybe a brighter soul, a bigger soul, I don't know, from the SUN incarnates here on earth and calls himself Jesus. I don't know. It's interesting. Okay.
I'm
neither on that side. This is new thoughts here on this. No. Got you.
Well, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, to kind of hover on the moon for a little bit, because you brought up a really good point about the angles. And what's never made sense to me is that we only see the same face, the exact same angle of the moon that doesn't even move a degree. And you can see it anywhere on Earth.
Yeah.
So at a different time. So like on one continent, it's daytime, it's a full moon. On the other continent, it's nighttime, it's a full moon. And they're seeing the same face. So to me, that almost says it's a 2D object. And you mentioned the moon map. I heard attached to the moon map is almost like, the way I've heard it is, the moon is almost like an X-ray shot that is being projected of what's down below it. And there is a way, we can get into if you want, but there is a way you can flip the moon, and all of a sudden there's a section of the moon that is like basically the Gleason map, the flat Earth Gleason map.
I'll show you a map of that in a moment. And to say it's an X-ray shot, well, that's basically some way to describe it. I don't even know if it's a reflection or if it's just part of the Earth system. And everything is related to everything else. Like, we have 99% monkey DNA, okay? Because we're part of the same system. The moon, is part of the Earth system. And if it didn't have some similarity to the Earth in some way, it's interesting. I don't know if it's a reflection, a photograph. They've kind of pigeonholed us into thinking that's what it is. Maybe it's something else. Yep. Maybe it's just some sort of connection. But so here it is in Canada and the UK at the same time. These were taken at the same time. Is that Australia? No, it's Canada. Canada and is that Australia? Canada. That's Australia. Is that Australia?
All right. Yeah.
Okay. And so it's kind of upside down, right? And but people say, if you're looking at a ball, and I'm looking at it from over here, someone looking at it from over here would see a different side. But I don't think it works that way. Right. I think because the sky is liquid. So look at this guy. He's facing us over here, okay? But he's not. He's really facing forward. And as we come around, so we're looking at the face of the moon. We're over here in the UK. Now we're going to walk over to Ecuador. And it's still facing us. 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 We're seeing the same face the whole time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Does he have to stand like that? Because that throws me off a little bit.
I know. It's a little weird. And I'm waiting to find a pool like this so I can redo it properly.
Yeah, don't if you do it.
And he reminds me of Mark Zuckerberg, which pisses me off.
Yeah. Hey, he's going to start fighting now. Don't make that guy mad. He'll UFC you right. I see that. Yeah.
But that makes sense, right? Yeah. If the firmament is curved, like that makes a lot of sense.
It's just saying the optics of the sky are no way to prove the shape of the Earth. What is the moon? I think it's an amazing part of this creation. I don't know if we could survive here without it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, we don't know either. We're trying trying to find out. If you find something, Dave, let us know. We'll do the same.
Look, NASA filmed the backside of the moon. Fascinating.
Oh, there.
That's
Well,
now, let me ask you a question. Let me stop this. This is a full moon because the sun is behind the camera. We got a full Earth. How come this isn't lit up like the moon?
Exactly.
Oh,
like a full moon. So stupid.
Yeah.
Great
so
question.
stupid. That's the thing. I think NASA is the best at reverse engineering crap to make their stories look right, and they miss so much on it though. But all the numbers, the math, 93 million miles away, the 7,900 diameter of Earth, like this stuff. It's like this is just one big math equation. They're trying to get the line up. It is so they forget the proof they did right before that to make justify it. It's just so funny, funny.
Yeah. Hey, Dave. And for our listeners that may have never seen it, can you show the graphic of what they say our system is? Of zooming through the universe.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's got a trick, bro.
You got so much.
I'm impressed with your ability to pull up information and data too visually. You're props for that, man. You're always on this stuff. It's super cool. Yeah.
So this is we're not only are we spinning, we're spinning, we're orbiting, and we're chasing the sun at crazy speeds, and all of these, everything adds up to 666. No matter how you look at it, 666 is everywhere. I just heard yesterday that the real numbers devil is 616. But if you look at the speed around the sun, it's 6616. Something. It's like it lined up. I gotta look it up. I gotta find it again. But this is what we're supposed to believe, is going on.
Yeah.
And somehow all of the stars remain exactly the same, where we're traveling 4.4 billion miles in 1 year, never to return to where we were before. But go out tonight, take a picture of the stars, put a note in your calendar to do the same thing, same night next year or in 10 years. Every star will be in the exact same place. Okay. We're in this beehive crazy universe, right? And
crazy. Is this
what?
Is this something, I know the model that we've been programmed to believe from the get-go and stuff, but this particular video hasn't surfaced till recently, I guess, when people caught up to that. Have you heard anything new? Like, I know all the time Neil deGrasse is always best about saying, well, the Earth isn't really round. I mean, we thought it was round, but it's not really round. It's like more like a little squisher.
It's a pear. It's
thing recently that double track things that in your eyes that we haven't caught yet.
They constantly move the globe post farther and farther every time we expose them. They literally have nothing but fallacious arguments anymore, and some of their best proofs have become flat Earth proofs. Okay, it's unbelievable. Yeah. On the app, if you go to the web button, more resources, scroll down to where is it? Experiments right here. This guy. There's the greatest. We've done all the experiments for you. Again, to go out and do some of these experiments over ice at night with lasers, mirror flashes, measurements, it takes a lot of time, effort, money, and the conditions have to line up. So it's very, very difficult to get them done. And so I say go verify the stuff yourself, but first watch how someone else did it. So look at their examples. Yeah. They show all of the proofs. They show everything. You don't really need to go out and do it yourself, but you can. Okay? You can. Yeah. And this alone, this section alone will make you understand that, we don't live on a spinning, scientifically impossible ball. One of my favorites is this one, a recent photo of these mountaintops. Have you seen this? And there's the one.
I've seen the one, but 700 miles. That's great. I haven't seen 700 miles. I've seen like 500 one.
Yeah. So there's a video breaking this down in that same section, but we could see 8 different mountaintops, the right shape in the right position. Okay. Now on the ground, you can't see them because the air is thick and it becomes opaque and you can't see. But up high, the air is thin and clear. And you can see it using the Earth curve calculator, their Earth curve calculator. From this altitude, at that distance, the tops of these mountains should be over 40 miles. 40 miles. 40 miles below the curve of the Earth. So if you go like to one of the real globe defending troll sites, they say, well, it's not like that. You're halfway here and it's halfway down. So you're only sharing the curve. So it's only half the curve, which is ridiculous. Okay, so the top of these mountains should be 20 miles. Okay, 20 miles below the curve, and we can still see them. So either way, you can see it. But just to let you understand what 20 miles is, this is 20 miles up. Okay, this balloon is 20 miles up. Here's another thing.
Yeah.
Kansas, pretty flat, right? Kansas, pretty flat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Kansas is like 400 miles across, 400 plus miles across. And when I have a graphic on that. So if you're on one end of Kansas and you went to the other end of Kansas, guess how much drop there is according to the globe math?
It's going to be miles.
20 miles. Okay. So from one end of Kansas to the other is this much drop. Okay. And this is clouds down here. You don't even see the earth. Okay. This is clouds. Okay. So one end of so if I wanted to say, okay, we got the earth, let me get Kansas. I have to turn Kansas. I'm going to put one end of Kansas up on this balloon and the other end is touching the earth. That's how much curvature there is. Okay. Right here, most people, you guys have been in it long enough where your mind won't give up right away. Most people just give up and go, that doesn't make any sense. I can't figure it out. I got to trust a guy in a lab coat that has a bow tie and who is a failed comedian. Okay. Because I can't figure it out. The reason you can't figure it out is because it's unfigure-outable. It's ridiculous. But this is their claim.
On this picture, you brought this up here too. This is one we bounce off. We've got a little different opinions here and there on our side here. The sun is so bright and vivid there. Doesn't look like it's 93 million miles away there. Doesn't look like it's extremely extreme. What do you think? What do you think right now from what you found out? How big is the sun? And how high up is it on our best elevation? What do you got? Best research you got?
Well, I don't think the sun is in a physical place. The farther, the closer you are to the surface of the earth, the more of a virtual personal spot you would see the sun in. As you get higher, I think you're getting closer and closer to where the real sun is. And I think the sun that we see isn't the real sun. It's the sun that's being projected in the firmament. And it's like on that sheet, the sky sheet. Okay. But I showed you earlier. Yeah. So if I'm 20 miles up, I don't know, every time we send a balloon 20 miles up, the sun kind of never looks like it's much higher than it. So maybe the sun that we see is only 20 miles up. And how big is it? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how big it is, but it's lighting up this part of the world over here. There's less of a hot spot.
There's the moon.
Yeah, there's a moon on that right there too. I love this video here. This one we've used a lot of times in our stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you could do on just that visual. You could do a whole show because I'm sitting here thinking because the whole point of this is scientific proofs, right? Kind of today, and two that really to me are like nails in the coffin is the horizon that always rises to the eye level of the beholder. And so right there, you said you're 20 miles high, but the horizon is at your eye level and it's perfectly flat. There's not a fisheye lens. And you would have the same view as if you were down standing on the beach with sea level. The horizon would still be at your eye level.
Sun would obviously be higher up at that point, but the horizon level.
Yeah, the horizon rises to the.
Now you have to be careful when you say the horizon rises to eye level because it never rises to eye level. It appears to get to your eye level, but it can never actually get there. It just keeps cutting the distance between its apparent vision and the actual eye level in half and half and half and half. Again, it gets to the point where you can't see the difference. The problem is when you get up really high and you're looking at the horizon really, really far through so much atmosphere. The atmosphere becomes opaque, which becomes sky, and it gives you a false horizon. That false horizon looks closer. Okay, like I can look out over the same body of water when it's a little cloudy and a little foggy. The horizon's much closer, and then clearer. It's way like I can look down Long Island Sound. I can see New York City perfect. I can see the whole skyline. And other days it's still kind of clear and I can't see it at all. And other days half the buildings are gone. Other days I can see underneath the White Stone Bridge. Okay, what's going on there? It's all optics. Okay.
And that may be hard to just say that horizon where it may not be right where we usually describe it. And maybe it's, but wherever that vanishing point of your focal point is, the vanishing point at that point.
Yeah, because the point is, as you rise up, you're not having to look farther and farther and farther down, which, makes sense on a globe.
Yeah.
Right. So if you look, the way the horizon works is, let me just show you, and you guys have seen this, I'm sure, but I'm going to show it anyway. This is what we're calling the horizon. right? But is that an optical place? As I'm zooming in, I'm getting farther and farther and farther out, and all of a sudden I can look. There's a sailboat that wasn't there before. Okay, and now we think this is right. Is that about to go over the curve, or we just can't see much farther? And then as we zoom out, these little waves in the foreground are going to take the boat out from the bottom up. Right, it's going to disappear from the bottom up. The whole boat is gone. Right, and so this is it's where the sky meets the ground because of the way that your eyes work. But our consumer optics have made it so we can zoom in and see better, right?
Yes.
So that is this line created is horizontal. It's the zone of our vision. So what do we call it? The horizontal eye zone.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I
don't know. Some people don't like that. Well, I don't know. It makes like that's exactly what it is. It's the horizontal eye zone.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned a certain guy in a bow tie, you know, and we all watched the episode when we were kids where that was his proof. And you said their own proofs is what is turning people to flat Earth. And I remember in that episode, it was like, this was the proof that the Earth is curved, is that supposedly, you know, Columbus or whoever, somebody sells, and the
mass starts going back.
Yeah, so the ship disappears from the bottom up, and they're like, well, obviously he didn't fall off the Earth. He turned around, he came back, so the Earth is curved. Well, if that's going to be your one proof that there's a physical, you know, curve that he's going around,
right? If there was a ball, did I lose? You guys still there?
Yeah, we're still here. Yeah.
So if there was a ball, you know, as the ship goes away, it disappears behind a physical curve. Then zooming in is going to bring it back because you have a physical curve on a ball.
Yes.
On a ball. Hold on. Let's hear this out. On a ball, the maximum distance that you can see is 8 inches per mile squared, or 1.22 times the observer's height in feet. And so a 6 foot tall person on a perfectly clear day with perfectly calm, still water cannot see the surface of that water beyond 3 miles because that's where it goes beyond 6 feet. So I'm standing at the edge of the water. I'm looking out on a ball. The horizon is 3 miles away. Okay. That's the farthest I can see. Now, if there's waves, those waves are going to block that horizon. It's going to bring the parent horizon even closer. If there's fog, it's going to bring it even closer. But if we removed all of the atmospheric, moisture, pollution, even remove the air, removed everything, so it's a perfectly perfect conditions, I still can't see farther than 3 miles because there's a physical curve there. Okay. On a flat Earth, we can see beyond that limitation of the ball. People don't want to deal with that. We can see farther than the limitation of the ball. Those mountains should be 40 miles below the curve, but we can still see them. Oh, it's refraction. Refraction flips them up. It lifts them up from behind the curve. All the distances, it lifts them up and it stops everything at eye level. Instead of putting it up in the air or even higher, it just stops it at eye level because it's magically trying to do that, right? Going back to sunsets for a second. The sun, if we're spinning, goes down, 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 but it actually doesn't. When it gets near the horizon, it stops. Okay? Focused or not focused, solar lens or non-solar lens, it stops. It stops going down. And it sat here for 10 minutes, and it just kept going away. Now, it's nighttime over here. It's nighttime down there on the Earth. This is from a drone up high, okay? And look at the sun.
Yeah.
I got accused of being photoshopped, right? There's a sun fade out section on the app, okay? That I got accused of doing Photoshop. I live streamed it, okay? I live streamed it a couple times. I've done it. I filmed it, I think 7 times now. All right.
Yes.
And and people love screaming about the sunset. If the sun was going away on your flat pancake Earth, okay, these people. They love saying that. It would get smaller. Well, I've never seen the sun get smaller. Well, you haven't seen all the sunsets, right? Here's on a high plain in Afghanistan, clear, dry conditions, and the sun is just going away. getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
The fool on the hill sees the sun going down, but the eyes in his head has been programmed to see the earth spinning round.
Yeah, you know what he's talking about.
I don't know if he knew it. He was told to sing that.
He was, yeah. That's true.
Well,
Is that the real Paul McCartney? That's the big question. Go ahead.
Oh man, here we go again. Yeah, here we go.
We get it then. Well, I mean, your work is fantastic, and I think that's another one. That sun fading away right there shows its perspective going away from you. You know, just like streetlights going down, or there's a lot of different examples out there of how perspective works, and there's a vanishing point, and it looks like it's going down.
Yeah.
But how can anybody, other than saying it's photoshopped, how can anybody argue against the sun just disappearing like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not going below the horizon. I haven't seen that video you had. That's really, really cool. Yeah. That's really
right here
cool.
on the more resources page. There's the whole section on it. A whole bunch of stuff. I have links to the raw video, so you can zoom in on yourself. It's 4K. And it's been filmed by other people now. When I first put it up, people were like, "Oh, Dave, you're the only person in the world that has filmed this." I'm like, well, let's think about that. To film it, you have to have a drone with a 4K camera. You have to do it when it's below freezing outside, so there's no moisture in the air, on a perfectly clear day. And then after the sun disappears, you have to keep filming because you can't really see it until you zoom in on it later. Okay? So, yeah, I am the first person that ever filmed it, because no other psychopath is out there freezing their ass off, warming drone batteries so the thing doesn't fall out of the sky, and timing it perfectly so you can get it before the battery freezes. Okay? So, yeah, I am the first guy.
Well, we appreciate it. Yeah. That's one of those ones where you said it's hard to do that. I'm gonna take your word on that.
I'm glad you.
I'm gonna take you out. Good thing. Yeah.
It's actually been filmed from the ground now. So it's been filmed somewhat from the ground, but again, it's more that it's more that it's fading into the thickness, which again it is doing at that. Let me see. I have it right. I had it somewhere. I had it. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. There, I got it. Sun fade out. So this is it, just on the ground, and it kind of just here's zoomed in. So this horizon, look from when we zoom out, looks like it's at eye level, and the sun's just fading into the thickness of the atmosphere. Same thing up top, but there was just less thickness, so we could see it farther.
Farther, yeah, I get it.
So when you look out at a horizon like that, this horizon is thousands of feet over your head. People can't fathom that because if you look at clouds, they're 5,000-10,000 feet over your head. Then you look at ones 20 miles away, they're touching the water. Are they touching the water? No, they're still 10,000 feet over your head. But everything comes to your eye level. The ground comes up, the sky comes down, and then when things just go beyond it, then you can't see it, and then people see it from the bottom up. The Globers be like, yeah, but the sun never goes below the horizon, so that's that proves the Earth is a globe because it goes below the horizon. So picture this. Let's do this. Get that off. So you're standing next to a highway overpass. Okay, let's say so. You got a highway overpass. You got a nice big high highway overpass. You're standing on the side of the highway, and the overpass is 20, 30 feet to your left. Okay, very high, right? And you're watching the sun on your right side, and it's moving across the sky. So now it's directly over you, and now it's going past the overpass, and it gets to the point where it disappears because the overpass is in the way. Right? You with me? Mm-hmm. And so it goes a little farther away, and now you can see it underneath the overpass. Right? Mm-hmm. You can see it underneath the overpass. Yes. Now let's turn that overpass into we fill it with bricks, so it's now a wall, and so now you can't see underneath it. So now you're watching the sun go. It's crossing over your head, and then it goes behind the overpass. Right? It goes behind the overpass, and now I can't see it because that wall is there. Now let's push that overpass 20 miles away. That overpass is now at my eye level. It looks like the top of it is my horizon.
Yeah.
And the sun
Right,
just
yeah.
goes away beyond it, and it looks like it sets from the bottom up. It looks
Yeah.
like it
So
sets
Yeah, that's good.
from the bottom up.
Yeah.
For someone to really think about that, that's a really good example.
Yeah. And let's do a let me show you another thing. If I can find my stuff fast. All right, perspective. Where is it?
We've only got like 3 videos, Dave, to look through. I don't know why you can't find it.
Well, again, here's Brit. That's not what I want to show you though. Where is it? This
It's a
it?
good picture though. I know I've looked at that one very well too. Yeah.
Okay, so this is it. So these streetlights are all at the same height. They're going down, right? I think this is it. All right. So here we have a guy got a cloud over his head, and we got the horizon in the distance, and he's looking up. So we draw and we make an actual string from his eyes to the clouds, and that string is going up. Okay, we're pulling a string from his eyes to that cloud.
Yeah.
And now these clouds are going into the distance, and they're all the same height, just moving away. And now we got this little cloud over here, if you can see it. So he's going to look at this little cloud over here, and he can see the string. He sees this string kind of parallel over the surface of the water connecting to that cloud. Okay. He sees a parallel line across the flat plain. Now, if somebody was standing underneath this cloud 20 miles away and they could see the string, what are they going to see? They're going to see, let's go a little farther. They're going to see a string coming from 5 or 10,000 feet sloping down to this guy 20 miles away. So they're seeing not a parallel line across a flat plane. They're seeing a line sloping down. Okay. So now, so we go back. Now we're looking at a side view. So we have this guy sees this. Remember, this guy standing over here sees that line parallel with the ground. So as the sun goes away, as it crosses this line, this cloud is actually his eye level horizon, and the sun will disappear behind that. Okay.
Yeah.
So from his point of view, what he's going to see is this. He sees the line here. The sun's going away. It's getting lower and lower. And then it just literally goes behind that cloud and disappears from the bottom up.
Yeah.
And he thinks that's his horizon. He thinks it's at his eye level, but it's 5 or 10,000 feet in the sky.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
They don't teach you this stuff in school, right? And here's this line is level, right? I'm showing it over here, the level line. And as it goes beyond, it looks like it's going below this eye level obstruction, which is right here. You can't really see it. The sun's doing the same thing. It's going behind this atmospheric deck of opacity.
Is this you doing this experiment? The one with the sun going away?
Yeah. Have you not seen that?
Well, no, it's actually the opposite. I'm trying not to geek out because we're just huge fans. And I've seen all these, and I didn't know necessarily, like, when you watch all these in documentary stuff, I didn't realize that you were the one doing that one. But
let me show it. Let me show it. So this is my flat. And by the way, let's just hold on a second. We talked about at the beginning about how flat Earth brings people to the creator. Okay. Many of my videos and the app came to me out of nowhere. How did I build this app? I have no friggin' idea other than the creator just keeps giving me downloads, right? I literally, before I made this video, I thought about it for 10 seconds. I was like, wait a minute, I'm going to build a flat Earth kitchen. Okay. And I did it, and it worked on the first take. It worked on the first take. So I built this thing. Okay. So here I got this line, and I'm filming it from a celestial point of view, same height as the sun. And I'm just moving the sun across this line, the path of the sun. And it's level with the counter, which is right here. It's the kitchen sink, right? And now, so this could be mountains, a skyline, or the clouds, but I never go below it. It's opaque. Now I have a camera, a terrestrial camera on the other end, filming from the counter. Now, look at this line. It looks like it's going down. If I showed you this first, I would say, is that line level? You'd be, no way. And I'm like, is this sun going below this eye level horizon? Is it going below the counter? You'd be like, yes, it is. And look at it now. This line is level. This is a level line. It looks almost vertical, right? Yeah, and so this isn't going below. It's going beyond. This is going beyond. It's not going below. This is going beyond. It's not going below. And if I zoomed out on this picture, this line here would merge. This you wouldn't be able to see the difference, and it would all just look like eye level horizon, right?
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And these are why I like, again, for people that are on this journey. I mean, obviously, you built this in your kitchen. I mean, this didn't cost thousands of dollars.
I said you didn't even have to leave.
I don't know where that light came from.
You didn't even have to leave your home. I mean, there's so much to do. People are like, if the earth was flat, it would light up the whole earth. The whole earth would be lit. Okay. Here's a light on a wall. It's pitch black over there. It's dark over here. And you're not even playing with atmosphere. Okay. The atmosphere will block the light, as I showed you with the sun fade out. They have us believing the light travels for billions and billions and billions and billions of years, that the stars we're looking at could have burned out a billion years ago, but the light's just traveling, maintaining its laser light to you. Ridiculous. Okay. They have you believing that. And therefore, when you hear flat earth, you're like, well, where does does it go underneath at night? They have you believing all sorts of crazy stuff. It's well thought out. Again, hats off, but the cat's out of the bag. The apocalypse is here. The unveiling of the truth is here for anybody willing to use their God-given common sense.
Amen.
But
and I'm gonna say at this point, like I mentioned earlier, if you're listening to this on the podcast and you're just getting the audio, go to these sites. But on this episode, go to the video. Like, you got to see what we're seeing right here. I mean, this is just incredible.
And I'm going to push your app a ton now, Dave, too, because it is the best repository I've found for this stuff. Because we use Telegram, and we've got a group that does Bible studies and stuff in Telegram, and we've got the same kind of thing with channels that we can kind of point people to. That repository you got just saved me a lot of work right there, buddy. I'm doing that because I'm doing the same thing you're doing at a quarter of the efficiency you're doing in that. So I appreciate that a lot, man. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I mean, the app is a fantastic resource, right? It does everything that you need it to do, including wake up your friends. If you got somebody that you have a conversation with them, you show them a couple images, you go to the images section and you show them a few things, show them some flight routes, whatever. And now you've got their interest. They're going to say to you, where do I get that app? Everyone, they all do. Yeah. They all do. And just say, here, and gift it to them. Buy it for them. It's like buying them a half a beer. Okay. All right. Buying them a half a beer. Right. And then when you also tell them, again, use the referral program in the friend finder on the top left, hit one of those buttons up there, goes referral. You get this random long number, click the pencil, edit it, put your name, whatever. Mine is DITRH. It's my YouTube channel. Right. And then when they download the app, the first thing it says, do you have a referral code? It's no skin off their back, whether they do or they don't. They put it in, you get a point. All right. And then you get on the leaderboard and you can trade it in. And it's fun. People just like being there because guess what? I look at this. Now, you can't prove me wrong. You could say I'm wrong, but you can't prove me wrong. I think when your day comes, when you are at the pearly gates and you're having your life review, they're like, how many people have you brought to Christ? How many people have you helped? Right? And when you bring somebody to flat earth, you're bringing them to the creator to a point where they can't deny the creator. So for every point that you have on that leaderboard is a path to get in to heaven. Okay. Now you may be there and they'll be like, you know what? Hey, when you were 18, you did this, and this, and you got these 15 things or 15,000 things. Well, you have a lot of points on this leaderboard. We're going to let you in. Okay? I don't know if you already have there.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, hey, just keep an eye on that list for WTYT, okay? Because we're going to start moving that board, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Is that your username? WTYT?
Well, I haven't set it up on this one yet. Here we got.
So one of you get it, and then go make sure you set it up and say WTYT. So anybody listening to this podcast that gets the app, put in for the referral code WTYT, okay? And then we'll get you on the board. I did like flyover conservatives, and they got 290. Boom! They came out of nowhere to second place. Okay,
that's awesome. Yeah.
I feel like we can do that.
Yeah, we definitely can.
We'll work on that as soon as we get off here.
Well, there you go.
All right, so WTYT, and if it says if you guys forget to do it, and it says no code, just put in DITRH. That way you give me the point. Right?
Don't steal our converts. Don't steal them.
Yeah. So Dave, WTYT stands for Who Told You That? And that's our whole podcast is what do you believe and why do you believe it? So we just want people to ask questions maybe they haven't asked before. We're just kind of trying to expand minds and, get open people's minds, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it really, to expand on Dan, it's really challenging. What do you believe and why do you believe it? So much of us are raised, and we're in Arkansas, we're in the Bible Belt, we're raised as Christians, but like, why do you believe that? And who told you that? And that's where it goes back to the soul searching stuff. And you point, where you're at with your relationship right now, and based on what you've been studying, and not somebody's put in your head already before that. You're a grown man, made your own choices. We're trying to do the same thing. Get everybody else to wake up and say, why do you truly believe that? Yeah.
Right.
And we're also
good.
Sorry, go ahead, Dave.
I would say belief, as Crow 777 Radio says. You guys all need to subscribe to that. It's fantastic. Belief is the enemy of knowing, right? Belief is the enemy of knowing, because you can believe and never not know. You need to go verify things, right? What's the Bible verse? It says verify all things or something like that. Verify.
Prove all things.
Yeah, prove all things. Yeah. So again, that's it. So that's the thought I forgot before was when you're talking to somebody about the Bible who's fighting you on flat Earth, they're like, the Bible does mention flat Earth. Isaiah says the circle of the Earth. Okay. Circle.
Yeah.
The definition of a circle is a line on a plane, a flat surface, where all the points in that line are equidistant from a center point. Okay. Yeah. That's not a sphere. That's a circle. Right?
Not a ball.
You can circle the Earth around the North Pole, east or west. You cannot circle the Earth south.
Hey, Dave, we got another one too. We were just joking in our biblical cosmology episode. We went over it though. Another one you might want to use in some stuff. Amos 9:6 is another one that gets looked over, but it's just like the Isaiah one. It's super powerful though. But it's Amos 9:6 says, "The one who builds his upper chambers in the heavens and has fastened his vaulted dome over the earth, he who pours out for the waters of the sea and pours them out on the face of the earth. Yahuwah is his name." It's like, wow, okay,
it's right there.
It's you're being vague about that. It's like super clear in that one too. So that one gets looked over a lot of times as well. But awesome, Amos 9:6.
Wow, nice one.
Yeah, good stuff.
So on which we've got literally a billion questions. So if at any point we want to be respectful of your time.
I'm good. I'm good.
We're hour 50 now. Yeah,
but so man, I'm trying to gather my thoughts. So I wanted to eventually get into gravity versus like what they call like density displacement, because I've heard it said that to any globe believer that's not not a Christian, gravity's their G. It's their what's it called? God of the gaps. They say Christians, anytime they can't explain something, they say, well, God did it. Well, it's the same thing on the other side. Anytime they can't explain something, they say gravity. So can we kind of stop on gravity for a little bit and break that down?
100%. So gravity is their big thing. Hey, how come we can't have high pressure next to low pressure without a container? Why doesn't all the air get sucked off into space? And the only answer is gravity. Gravity can hold down an air molecule, but it can't hold down a water molecule.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'd pull all the clouds down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Trillions of pounds of water floating in the sky debunks gravity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Period. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then how does the water float? It's electrostatics. Okay. And we'll get in a minute. And again, I'm going to talk some numbers, which you can understand. People have been taught. We've been all trained that big numbers are too big for our brains. And that's not true. We can understand big numbers, but they use it to hide it from us. So they want us to think, excuse me, that we're crazy, that down is down for everybody. Okay, down is down for Australia, but on a ball, down is like this. Every way your feet are center, are antipodal to people on the other side of the world. Right. And even though we're spinning in a pressurized, non-vacuum, non-container, and orbiting and speeding up and slowing down, we can't feel any of this because gravity just holds everything on. Okay, gravity. If I had a 5-pound frying pan, I need to put 5 pounds of pressure to hold it to the bottom of my hand. Right? 4 pounds of pressure wouldn't be enough. If I had a 10-pound frying pan, 5 pounds of pressure would not hold it to the bottom of my hand. I need 10 pounds of pressure or more. Right? Yeah. On the bottom of a ball, there's trillions of pounds of water. How much pressure you need to hold that water to the ball?
Okay.
14.
6. Yeah, I was off.
Yeah. So again, gravity is our God, and it's one of the first things they teach kids in school. But besides the orbit of the planet, it's all part of that. The orbits of the Earth and the Moon and the Sun, and this was one of the first worksheets you bring home from school, right? So, here's one. So we got a balloon. I'm holding this balloon, got a little bit of air in it, it's not blown up, and the balloon is flopping downwards because of gravity. Okay, right? If I put air in it, that air is trying to escape in all directions, up, down, left, and right. Okay? My question is, why isn't this balloon being stretched, pulled down? Like, why isn't gravity stretching that balloon down when the air pressure is enough to stretch the rubber? So the air pressure is stronger than the gravity.
Yeah.
The air pressure that's trying to escape in all directions is stretching out the rubber, but gravity isn't strong enough to stretch out the rubber.
Yeah.
Okay. So strike 2 for gravity. Yeah. Okay.
Strike 2. How many strikes do they get, Dave? They get 1 strike. I only give 1 strike to Glover. It's 1 strike in your eye. Okay. The electrostatic force that holds our world together, Walter Lewin. Okay. MIT, great professor. Okay. Electrostatic. Okay. Let's talk about that. The electrostatic forces. What is the electrostatic force? Well, the electrostatic force is, positives and negatives. They attract each other. We know this. Okay. Where am I looking for here? So, when the electro force, when we were filled with, negative electricity, whoosh, our hair stands up and things change. Okay. So here is, where am I looking for? All right. So we also talk about buoyancy and density, right? We got a blimp floating in the air, weighs more than the air, but this blimp, but for some reason it's less dense overall, so it floats. And you got a ship floating on the water, and you got a submarine below the water. That's buoyancy and density, right? And so our world is literally a giant energy machine. We got the sun and the moon are the anode and the cathode. And the salt water carries the current. Salt water carries the current. Okay. And the land is the salt bridge. It's a giant battery. Okay. And so let's look at doing a quick little test. So here I got some helium balloons that are left over from a party here. And I got just a little button taped on the end here, and it's floating a couple inches above the floor. Now this wire goes to a Van de Graaff generator. And we're going to introduce a positive charge to this, adding a positive charge. And as we do, it goes down. Now, do we make it heavier, or do we just increase the positive charge? Zero weight, zero mass change. That's the thing, too. Gravity is always about the mass side of things, but you do nothing to physically alter anything.
Right. And so the Earth has a negative charge. Everything above the Earth is in a positive field. And we're adding a positive charge to this, And if you look at elements from the lightest to the heaviest, each element to the right has an additional positive charge. So the heavier the positive charge, the heavier it is. Okay. During things fall at an average of 8.2 meters per second, or whatever it is. During lightning storms, things have been measured to fall at different speeds. And when lightning strikes, you ever see someone get struck by lightning? They go flying in the air. Did it change? Yeah. Did it change the polarity of the Earth in that spot for a split second, sending everything flying?
Yeah, that's great. Wow. I've never correlated that till recently. I saw something in this along this. This is something that, again, Jared and I and Dan have been looking at in the electrostatic part of it here. Frequencies, that stuff's been rising to the forefront more so to us lately than other things have been on this. And this is absolutely crazy, because used to, I think, like lightning hit, you'd see it just blow. It was like an explosion almost, like it was blowing up something. Until you break it, it's doing exactly what you're saying.
We're putting a negative charge into this, right? And as long as we keep the negative charge in it, it stays up off the Earth. Now, are we define gravity or we define electrostatics? Okay. Are we finding an electrostatic charge? They tell us the electrostatic charge is 10 to the 39th power stronger than gravity. 10 to the 39th power. Guess what that number represents? You know what it represents? It represents absolute insanity, right? This is the silent drone. MIT built this. No moving parts. It just flies.
Oh, I hadn't seen that.
They're changing the electrostatic force, and they can manipulate this thing and it can fly. It's got no moving parts. It makes no noise, maybe a little hum. That's it. No moving parts.
So there's no, hold on, there's no propellers or
no propellers,
anything on
nothing.
That's insane.
I haven't seen that video, that silent drone. That's crazy. That's the thing I'm always looking at this, because the test you showed, the one with the balloons is a great one. That, again, replicable by anybody, with stuff that's got vantographs there. But, like, what scalability is out there currently that we don't know? Because, I know that usually they always joke about stuff being like, if I can find anything out here, we're usually 20, 30 years behind what military NASA already has access to.
Yeah.
So
I think we're 100 years behind. There's nothing new under the sun.
Okay.
I think all of this flying technology was here hundreds of years ago. The flying Vimanas. Look at all of the history on the app. Go to the Tataria Old World section. Just start looking into that stuff. It'll blow your mind. But this is a Russian guy that built this thing, and it's got just electrostatics. It's flying because of electrostatics, right? And this is this is alien technology. This is old world technology, our outer world technology. Okay, so it's fascinating. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
The point I was going to make. 10 to the 36 power stronger. Okay, so gravity, they tell us, is weak, and it's a theory, and 96% of it's dark matter, dark energy that's completely made up to support the theory. That's not what science is. Hey, I can make up a theory that says, whatever, but I have to make 96% of it doesn't work, so I just make up something to fill the hole and say it has to work because, it's retarded. I said the word, okay? And so 10 to the 36 power. All right, so first, just big numbers. You guys know how long a trillion seconds is, right? You've seen my videos. How long is a trillion seconds? How long?
Oh, yeah.
Take a guess.
I've heard this before on it. It's
500 years.
It's
500 years. We'll set the over under at 500 years. Less than 500 years or more than 500 years?
I mean, more than 500 years.
It's 31,000 years. Okay. Everybody stop. Just stop for a second. Everyone listening. 1 trillion seconds is 31,000 years. 1 trillion seconds is 31,000 years. Let that sink in. Okay. And don't think about our national debt, $70 trillion. Okay. Whatever it is. 31,000 years. That's a big number. Okay. So let me ask a question. If I was over there and I punched one of you guys in the shoulders, Jared, I'm going to punch you in the shoulder.
Yes.
It's hard. That hard. Did it hurt?
Yeah.
It hurt? Not really. You're a tough guy, right? What if I did it 10 times harder? Would it hurt?
You ready?
No.
Jared, if I did it 100 times harder, would it knock you off your chair? Probably.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If I did it 1,000 times harder, would it break your back? Probably.
Yeah.
If I did it a million times, skipping 100,000, a million times harder, would you explode like a bomb? Probably. Right?
Yeah.
If I did it a billion times harder, would you pulverize and, probably take out the next building as you flew through it? Right? You can't even fathom what that is.
Yeah.
If I did it a trillion times harder, your mind can't even go there. That's 10 to the 15th power. If I punch 10 to the 15th, and they tell us the electrostatic force is 10 to the 36th power, you can't even fathom. Now, I don't believe it, but that's what they say. I don't think 10 to the 36th power exists. I don't think that number exists in force. Okay. So maybe the electrostatics are 10 to the 36th power stronger than gravity, which would make gravity less than a static little attraction, Okay. Maybe they're telling us the truth. Revelation of the method again. So gravity is if gravity was, 10 to the 30. If electrostatics is real and our downward force is 10 to the 36 power more than gravity, and that's what we feel, that's 1G, then if gravity was in charge and I jumped, I'd go to the moon. Okay? Because there wouldn't be enough force to pull me back down. Maybe they're telling us the truth. Okay? Maybe they're telling us the truth.
But they put so much minutia out there beside it, it's hard to be like, well, is it the truth or not? Yeah, it's just crazy. Weed this out.
Yeah.
Well, so speaking of numbers, there's another. I mentioned gravity and density, but there's another one that is kind of like, this is where the rubber meets the road, right? Yeah. Almost all of our experiments are based on this math that we all agree upon is 8 inch per mile squared drop, curvature drop.
Yeah.
But then I'll hear people out there, including Professor Dave or whoever, and they'll just say, they don't give us the correct math. They'll just go, well, that's not the right math. That's a parabola, not right math.
Yeah.
And I just want to speak to that. I'm like, okay, well, if that's not the right math, then give us the right math for 25,000 circumference miles, and let's just go out and see if we can see that far.
So there's three or four formulas that are that predict that explain the curvature of a ball, and out of those 3, 8 inches per mile squared gives you the least amount of curvature. So we, as flat earthers, chose the one that's easy to use and is the least amount of curvature. All right. So everybody, we're gonna do a little math. It's easy. You learned this in school. You forgot it, but it's easy. Okay. The Pythagorean theorem. Okay. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay. You got your right angle and your hypotenuse is C, and that would be the formula. So you got a guy standing here and a level horizontal plane out from his feet, and we can create our right angle. We have the drop would be from here to here. All right. That would be the drop. As you farther out you go, the drop would get more and more. And yes, it would become a parabola after a while, but we don't need to get to the parabola point. Okay. So we know the radius of the Earth, according to their nonsense, which nobody knows the radius of the Earth, 3,963 miles, right? So let's say we'll do 100 miles just for easy number. And we get, so we take the A squared plus B squared equals C squared. We get our number and we put it here, and it equals 1.2615 miles. Okay. Would be the drop, right? This would be the drop, 1.2651 miles, right? Which is 6,660 feet. There's that number again. Okay. That is what the Pythagorean theorem says. The Pythagorean theorem does not lie. This is 8 inches per mile squared. It comes out the same. The 8 inches per mile squared up to 1,000 miles is within like a foot of the other ones, but it's less. It's a foot less. Up to, I think it's 2,000 or 3,000 miles, it's only off by like 1%. Okay. Nobody can see 3,000 miles.
Yeah.
Nobody can see 1,000 miles. Okay. Right. It's dead on accurate, but that's all they have to go on. They have to talk snarky and just make empty claims. But this is the Pythagorean theorem, period. Right. 6 foot tall person standing at the edge of a calm ocean on the West Coast can watch the sunset, and it looks like it's going behind the ocean. Now, that point where you see the sun going behind the horizon, you have to believe that's only 3 miles away. And if you're sitting, you have to believe it's like 1.5 miles away. Okay. When you know that it's like 20, 30 miles away, because that's where the clouds look like they're touching the water. Well, there are no clouds today, David. Well, out for 20, 30 miles looking through clear atmosphere, it becomes opaque. You don't realize that, right? You can't see forever. That's the sun fade out showed you. That was a perfectly clear day. And at that level, over water, especially because water has the moisture over it, it becomes an opaque barrier that you can't distinguish from your eye level horizontal eye zone.
Yeah.
Wow,
that's good. I did this same thing too. Jared, whenever he reached out to me, I'm an engineer by degree, so I'm a math nerd. I love this stuff. So he's like, 8 inch mile, can you prove this out? I was like, sure, give me a minute. So 4 sheets of paper later, I did what you did here and broke it out. And around the distances and stuff, and I came to the same conclusion you did, though. I mean, it's accurate beyond anybody's reasonable distance that you can test, like realistically, like you said, the thousands of miles plus anything within that, it's spot on. It's spot on.
But let me be the critic for a second, right? I mean, I know the answer. I'm kind of tongue in cheek here, but there's somebody out there that's going, well, what about the height? Like, is there an account for the height? Because we're told, this, and this is kind of a two-part question. We can stand at the beach, and we're told, well, at the 3 mile mark is basically where it starts going over the horizon. You've already shown a picture where we're 20 miles high, and it's, we still don't see curvature. So two things is, does that math, whenever we're figuring these things up, does it account for the height? And then two, people like Neil deGrasse Tyson and stuff that says, well, you're just not getting high enough to see the curve. Have they even come out with a number where they claim you can see the curve?
Oh, they keep moving it. There used to be, you can see from an airplane, then we showed that you can't. Well, you have to be like 70,000 feet, like a MiG fighter. So the Mythbusters, the shills that they are, they're like, yeah, you can see it there, but they had all these cameras, and one camera didn't have a fisheye lens, and looking out the back, and it showed a flat horizon eye level. And then they're like, well, you have to go higher. You have to go to Red Bull guy. What's his name? Felix Baumgartner.
Oh,
okay,
Baumgartner.
Yeah. He did it. You could see the height you can see it from there, right? And then they show the curvature, and we're like, this is all New Mexico. This is all New Mexico. All of this is New Mexico, right? Right. Yeah. And then they're like, well, at that height, this stuff is flat. Neil deGrasse Tyson says this stuff is flat at that height. You can't see the curvature. They just constantly move the globe post. Here is ground level versus 127,000 feet. The horizon does not change from that inside non-fisheye lens. Yeah. Ground level, and then altitude. It doesn't change.
I love the ones where they got me at ground level and they say, yeah, we're going to put this balloon up and show you the curvature of this balloon. And they'll have a rope hanging, and at ground level, this rope looks like a C at ground level. And I'm like, well, that's curved at the ground. Are you sure it's going to be accurate when you get, it's just it's so funny. But they blinders, these blinders in there, they're like, so, again, they're so staunch and programmed. It's just hard.
Yeah, it's people just don't want to do it. And then there was also 2 pre-launch pre-tests before they filmed it, and they filmed it without GoPro lenses. And there was some great footage of that kind of got disappeared in the YouTube apocalypse of 2017. And
Purge.
Yeah, the YouTube purge, and it showed flat horizons. But the CIA hijacked the experiment, whether it's real or not. It's interesting, but as we go up, look, this horizon is just rising with it. It's just rising. And again, it's miraging here. Like the horizon could really be back here. We don't even know.
Yeah,
you can't.
And that's what we were talking about earlier. And, the horizon up there, you see the sun. The horizon was meets eye level. That's what we're talking about right there. You see that the elevation doesn't change. That horizontal line you're looking at, but that true horizon, you said, could be higher or lower based on atmospheric lensing or moisture in the air, where it may be exactly. But it's, to just naked eye perspective, it stays right there where you're at. You're not looking ever downwards across the edge of a curve like you would expect if you were on anything else that was round and edges going away from you. It's just again, it's crazy. Crazy talk.
Right.
Yeah.
So another question that comes up is like, why are all the other planets round? Why is everything else round? And the question is, are they round? Right?
Are they round?
Are they round?
Yeah.
So what do we have here? Is that the sun or the moon? Right? Is it the sun or the moon?
Or is that
I have no idea.
I know you're probably going to set up here. I don't know what that is, Dave.
Right. I give you a false binary, but when we bring it forward, we find out it's a train.
It's a train.
And it doesn't even have a circular light. It has like 8 lights. Some of them are rectangular. Okay. Or and that
go ahead.
But everything turns into a sphere in the distance, right? Everything looks like a sphere in the distance, right?
Yeah.
You don't know unless you can touch it or feel it. You don't know what shape it is, right? You don't know anything. Check this illusion out. Okay, these boxes look like they're moving away. They look like they're moving up and down, right? They look like they're going diagonally, right? And they're rotating, but watch, they're not moving at all.
Yeah. Your mind, that just shows you the power of your
Crazy.
mind, though. It shows you the power, truly the power of your mind as to what these.
Well, to that point, Dave, what do you think is so like? What do you think stars are? What do you think? Because when we zoom in on these things, it's just oscillating lights. You know, I've got a theory, and there's a thing out there called "Star in the Jar" that you know, go do your own research. But I want to hear your thoughts on like what are the stars and wandering planets, wandering stars.
I can't stop looking at that stinking box right now. Take it off.
I'm giving you a seizure.
Yeah, he's programming it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So, see this chair? Is that the shape of a chair?
Yeah.
Is it 3-dimensional?
Yeah.
Is it?
Looks like it.
Yeah, it looks like it.
It's not now.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's completely flat.
Yeah. I love these pictures they do when they do like street artists and stuff like that, and they'll paint stuff in the roads where you stand for perspective and walk by and think they're going to fall into a hole. Yeah, it's perspective. It's so great. It's so cool.
And this one, you seen this one? Are these tables the same width and same length, the same dimensions? Could be a trick. Maybe they are. Maybe they are. Maybe they aren't. Which one is it?
I'm gonna say no.
They're not the same. Well, you're absolutely wrong. That one's that size. It's the same. Even though I showed you the illusion, you can't break it. Your mind can't see that they're exactly the same.
Yeah.
That one's tripping me out.
Okay. So when you say why are these rounds? Why is this? We don't know anything. The only, as again, I'm going to quote Crow 777 Radio. The only thing you can say about any of the luminaries in the sky is that they're lights, because they are lights, because we can see them. Yeah. They're light coming off of them. That's all we can definitively say. We can't say how far they are, how big they are, what they are, or anything. What do I think stars are? I said it earlier. I think they're angelic perfection, and maybe that's where our souls reside when we're not physically here on Earth. Maybe.
Yeah. Gotcha. And there's a lot of stuff in the Bible that talks about the luminaries and being, having angelic properties about them. Absolutely. Again, is it definitive? An absolute? I don't know. No, there's a lot of stuff that points to that out of the Bible stuff as well.
Right. And when people want to...
Go ahead.
You would just say this breaks your brain?
Yeah.
So here, we want to break your brain. Watch this one. So this is... have you seen this? So
I've seen it.
This is actually smaller and this is longer, and it's actually spinning around. Okay. It's actually doing a full circle, but our brain makes it look like it's going like this. Okay. Right. And so if I stuck a pencil or a pen through one of these windows and then spun it, would it break the illusion? Okay. So this guy's going to get a pen and he's going to put a little piece of tape on it. He's going to stick it through. Okay. A little tape, and he's going to stick it through, and then he's going to wind up the string, and it's going to spin in a circle. You think the pen will break the illusion? Ready? It's going to spin. Will the pen help you break the illusion? Ready? And this is where your mind breaks. Okay.
Not when it's in the center.
Oh wow!
Look what that pen's doing.
Now you can see it.
Oh. It's so weird.
It's
so weird. Yeah.
So all this just kind of makes me think of. We talk about a lot of deceptions, right? Deceptions that's coming, and this makes me think like when they're using Project Bluebeam or something like that, how easily people can be deceived. It's crazy.
I think it's a good part to transition to. To talking about, we had an episode a couple episodes ago talking about aliens. Talking about aliens and the stigma around in the day, the modernized stuff that's out there today. Again, we're on the belief side that aliens, I believe, are real. That's probably not the little green men you think and see in the movies and stuff. Mm-hmm. But have you, in your studies and other stuff with the deception? I think we watched your documentary that you guys did recently on Level With Me, where you talk about that the final card being played. That Werner Braun's assistant was talking about all the time about this external alien invasion being the final card of this. What do you believe right now? You think of aliens in the gist of it, as far as what aliens are in the grand scheme of this, and what an alien is today that you think?
Well, when you say aliens, that there's two different words: aliens and extraterrestrials. Okay, so aliens, you know, in my mind, I define that as non-physical, demonic beings. You know, and then there's other people from the extra land. Okay.
See, you brought the word up. I was wanting to see if you're on that in that camp though too. Though we definitely believe they're demonic. We definitely believe they're demonics. You know, things that have been around since flood days. You know, at that point in time.
Right. So those are trapped souls, body lit, whatever you want to say they are. That's fine. But when I talk about extraterrestrials, maybe they're coming from the extra terra out here, extra land, extraterrestrials from the outer space beyond Antarctica.
Yeah. And Dave, this part right here on this is one we've seen before, this map, and there's also one where it's got a bunch of more things that look like, you know, our Gleason map there outside of this thing. That's one thing though, again, nobody that I'm alive and talking to has ever been there or has anything on that. The other stuff I can see and prove, you know, most things out with experiments, with, you know, empirical evidence on stuff. And do you have any inclination that somebody has had any evidence about these external lands here? If there is, you know?
Yes. So again, we want the right to go explore beyond Antarctica. Mm-hmm. The reason we can't is because we have to protect the penguins, but we can deforest the Amazon and wipe out the lungs of our earth, but we have to protect the penguins. Makes no sense. Okay. So in the books section on my app, there's a whole bunch of books. One of them, my favorites, is the Iron Republic right here. Okay. There's also the Smoky Gods. There's some worlds. Excuse me. Losing my voice. So when it's longer, we can go. Worlds Beyond the Poles. And then this is a great one, short one. The Navigator Who Crossed the Ice Wall. You haven't read that one yet? It's a short read. What's that?
I'm talking. That cover of that book's one of the other issues, the other illustration I'm talking about. That one is one I've seen, and again, it's I mean, to me, it's just fanatical there. But I'm like, is it? You know, is there truth to that at all? Is there, I mean, hints of the truth, or is it something just?
If you read the book, it's written as a true story. It's of somebody that, you know, their grandfather had explored there or whatever. The Iron Republic was written in the 1800s of a New York politician who got fed up with the system, sold his house, sold everything, bought a ship, got a crew, and went to Antarctica. Found an opening. Was kind of didn't know where they were going. Then they came out of the opening. They were lost at sea. The stars didn't make any sense. They were lost for, I think, 1 or 2 months at sea. And then finally they saw land and they saw a city. They're like, oh my God, a city. But the city was weird. It didn't have any noise. It was lit up, but there was no noise. They waited till morning and a ship came out with some people on it that spoke English that said, hey, you know, where are we? Like, this is the Iron Republic. We're from America. What's the Iron Republic? They said. And they go, well, where's the Iron Republic? He goes, well, it's on the other side of Antarctica, about the same distance as America is. And they didn't understand. They went in and they told a story. Now, whether it's true or not, doesn't matter. Rings true to me. An advanced city, flat screens, electric floating cars, all sorts of technology that he listed. And the guy lived there. He actually fell in love, got married. 10 years later, his wife died. Something happened. He got distraught. He got his ship back and ended up going back, landed in Florida, and wrote this series of articles about what had happened, laying out all the proof. What's interesting is if you guys wanted to find the first issue of Time magazine or anything, you think you can find it? Yeah, sure. You go on eBay, you can find it. Might be $10,000. I don't know. You can't find a single copy of Florida magazine anywhere anymore. They have wiped them off the face of the earth. Okay, they're all gone. They're all gone. So it's a fascinating story, and also you can find it. It's on YouTube. If you don't, you know, people that commute and stuff don't have time to read a book, just go on. The channel's called The Morgile, and just search the Iron Republic on The Morgile, and he does a great job reading it. And then you'll be like, wow, whether it's true or not, they were talking about more land beyond Antarctica in the 1800s. Here's that map you're talking about on the app, and we live, you know, here in the center. This is where we live, right?
Yeah.
These are all other ponds on the plane. Now, is this true? I don't know. You know, a lot of people on the biblical side get, Dave, you're the God said he just created the earth. Maybe this is the earth. Maybe this is the earth. Okay. And maybe these are the four corners of the earth. I don't know. Okay. Don't box yourself in. Maybe there's a firmament over this whole thing. Maybe this is the shoreline. Maybe Antarctica doesn't go all the way around. We have no proof Antarctica goes all the way around. I mean, they just take us from here to here. Okay. Now, if you went from a ship from here to here and landed on a little tiny island off of this continent, and it's Rothschild Island or Deception Island, your choice. Okay. Look at the size of the island. Here's Canada, America, and South America. This is twice the size of all of that. So if they pulled you up here and said you were at Antarctica, how would you know? How would you know this is only a continent? You wouldn't know anything. And so maybe this is all open, right? Maybe there's other stuff going on out, beyond there. Maybe there's other worlds out there. Okay. And here's you guys have seen my stuff on Kiribati, right? Say no.
On what?
Refresh here on this.
Very good. No, very excited. Okay. Very excited. Here we go. So you can go online and you can find a ship tracking site. You can find all the cargo ships. Click on any cargo ship. It tells you where they're going, how long they've been at sea, the info on the ship, where it's registered, all of this stuff. And we found a ship 730 miles inside of what should be Antarctica. Wait a minute. Maybe global warming has melted all of this ice and they're there. But it also says that this ship is 1.9 miles above sea level. So if Antarctica is melted, how are they 1.9 miles higher? Right? That's a big melt. Yeah. Okay. Florida would be underwater already, right? As Al Gore told us. Then we found another ship that is 905 miles in. And it's 2.37 miles above sea level. It's almost at the center of Antarctica, according to Google Maps. All right?
Yeah.
So the question is, what's going on? And so we clicked on one of those ships, and it said it's registered on the island of Kiribati, and it's how big? I forget that. Yes. It's like 800 meters. It's a friggin' gigantic ship, like one of the biggest, if not the biggest ship that we're aware of, right? And and it's in the middle of friggin' Antarctica. What is going on there? So we looked at it, and that's all it said. And it said it's registered in the island of Kiribati. Well, the nation of Kiribati. Well, here's Kiribati in the middle of nowhere. I put a pin on it. Right? We zoom in. It's a sandbar. It's literally a little atoll. Okay. And we find out, do a little research. China gave them $10 billion recently, and America gave them a similar number. Right? They say this is a very important trade route. Why is this a trade route? Why is this what do they stop there and get? Sand? What are they getting? Okay. What are they getting? And then the funny thing on Kiribati is a Captain Cook hotel. Okay. Revelation of maybe just somebody who's obsessed with Captain Cook. Right. So Captain Cook's the guy that tried to circle Antarctica 11,000 miles and he went over now I'm forgetting all my numbers today. 86,000 miles. No.
It never made it, right?
All my numbers have disappeared out of my head today. They're getting me. They're getting me. Wait a minute. What is the number? What is the number of 24,000, 86,000 miles? Yeah, that's what I think that's the number. All right. So he went 86,000 miles. That sounds like a flat earth to me, right? So that's another strike, right? And then we look at the ships that are at Kiribati. Kiribati has this giant pier for these giant ships. And we click on all of their names. Hard to see here, but they all of the destinations are either blank, or if they're not blank, they say Christmas Island. Why do we have a bunch of hidden names or coded names? Christmas Island. Okay. All of these ships, all of them. Click on it. Go on a ship tracking site. Click on any ship. I challenge you to find one that says Destination Unknown or Christmas Island. But all of these say Destination Unknown or Christmas Island.
Yeah.
So we have that strike three. Okay. if you look at Kiribati in the news, there's all sorts of nuke testing there. They don't want people going there, right? One of the guys said in an article, he said, when the bomb went off, I put my hands over my face and I could see the bones through my hands. Cool story, bro. Okay, right? It's like he's like watching too much Bugs Bunny, right? This is the stuff. And then you can look at this bomb going off over here. You're a soldier marching in this airfield here. A bomb's going off. What are you going to do? You're going to run? You're going to lay down? You're going to turn your back? Look at these guys. No one's even looking. No one's even looking.
Business as usual right there.
Yeah, business. What is that? CGI? Is that just a fire? What is that? Okay, is that? I mean, a tornado maybe, but no one even seems to care. Recent article, they always show this fake picture of a nuclear bomb. Right? You guys know that nuclear bombs don't exist, right? Did you go?
I've kind of started down.
Yeah, and on Crow 777 Radio, episode 35 and episode 400. Go there, listen to those episodes. Listen, because that way, whenever if you happen to turn on the poison on the news, and every time you hear the word nuke, you can giggle and laugh instead of every cell in your body going, "Oh shoot, I don't want nuclear war." Nuclear wars don't exist. Okay, it's all just.
Hey, you're not going to see Oppenheimer? You're not going to see Oppenheimer this weekend?
David? I'm gonna wait to get a pirated copy, just to see what they're doing. But it's all just basic fear because they want us believing that these nuclear bombs exist. What about Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Go listen to Crow with 2 R's, 777radio.com. Crow, CRROW, 777radio.com. Do yourself a favor. Just become a subscriber, download all their videos, put them on your phone, and listen to them while you're doing your stuff. Okay? You will be hooked for life. Okay?
And David, it's funny. We live again on the Oklahoma Arkansas line here, though, but not far from us is a town where they have a military base set where they built the Moab that supposedly Trump dropped on
bombs, right?
Television. Yeah, massive open air ordnance blast, or whatever it is.
Whatever.
Mother all bombs. But they made such a huge deal out of that, and it is a supposed fraction of what a nuke can do. Yet it made headlines across the country about this Moab that got dropped on television.
Right. Three days after. 3 days after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the sandwich shops were open, the trains were running, people were back to work, right? 3 days later. And guess what? Only one guy was authorized to take pictures and write articles for the press, right? Anyone else that wrote an article and took a picture was put in jail.
Wow.
What the hell's up with that? Right? And
one of the
go back to Kiribati. If the Earth,
go down the rabbit hole.
a lot there.
Hold on. So if the Earth was a globe spinning, right? If the Earth was a globe spinning, the sun would move through all the time zones. The time zones are a line from the North Pole to the South Pole. There'd be 24 of them, creating 24 time zones. Okay, right? But we got this weird ass time zone over here. That's a date line. Okay, and if we take a look at it, it's weird. Like what? Why isn't it a straight line? That makes no sense. There would be symmetry if there was a ball. But if you took a flat Earth and wrapped around a ball, you'd have to hide things. You'd have to scramble things, especially in the South, right? Guess what's right here, Kiribati. What the heck is going on right there? Okay.
Can we are we getting a field trip together, Dave? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Maybe. Well, there are people that claim they've been there, but again, if you're there, what are you gonna do? They're gonna, oh yeah, you're here. Might as well let's show you all of our secrets. I literally I go to Mexico in the winter, and literally across the driveway is the port that for where the ships come in. And the walls are 20 feet high, and then they have barbed wire on the top. I have no idea what's going on in there. I was there for 2 months. I have no idea what's going on in there. Okay, so don't think you're just going to go. You're going to go to Kiribati. But
listen. Once you hit billionaire status, though, we should be able to get some kind of technology, like a helicopter or something.
Maybe.
Is Kiribati?
Is what?
No, I was just going. Is Kiribati? Is that so? There's. And I don't know if this is one and the same, but I know there's a lot out there that I'm hearing that there's a particular island that basically, whatever you want to call them, the elites of the world, the controllers, that they leave from this island with these ships and they go through the firmament, what they call the
Summer's Gate.
Gates
Summer's
of
Gate.
summer.
The Summer's Gate.
Yes, and they go through and they get all these resources that are outside of, our Antarctic ring, and then they come back. Is that same island?
So I think that that maybe they I'm not sure that's a great question. I'm not sure if it's the same island, or maybe they just go to Antarctica because they go to what we call Antarctica, and then they disappear for a couple of days, and then they come back, to the supposedly South Pole Station, they call it. I don't know where they're going from, but that's, I think they go out there to get their marching orders and whatnot. But so if this is a map, this map was found in a Buddhist temple, published in 1910 in a Hawaiian newspaper. Perhaps this is Kiribati, and there is a trade route. This is a very important trade route going out here to these other continents, other civilizations. Okay, and maybe they're trading computer chips, tuna fish, children, resources, weapons, technology, right? And you laugh, but maybe there's another trade route over here. Maybe there's over here. Maybe all of this intergalactic, which is on the Earth, right? Right. The whole the navigator across the ice wall basically is telling the story of Star Wars, but here on Earth, where all of these other islands out there, they're pieces of the plane. They're little planets. Okay. Right. And so, the closest star is 25 trillion miles away. If they happen to have a planet of advanced beings there, that's the closest possibility. Okay. 25 trillion miles. So if we're going a mile per second, it would take us 31,000 years to get 1/25th of the way there. But you know what? Let's get a faster spaceship. Go 100,000 miles an hour. Unfathomable. Right? It's only going to take us 28,000 years. Okay. 28,000 years. Okay. I don't think the Earth has been here that long. Okay. So now that we realize outer space is scientifically impossible, the distances are ridiculous. What about this? This is just tens of thousands of miles away. This is nothing. This is a day trip, especially if you have a electrostatic propulsion device, where you can go super fast, or even just a conventional airplane that doesn't use fuel. Whole nother rabbit hole. So people say, what difference does it make? How do they hide this? How everyone would have to be in on it. Everyone would have to be in on it. Let me show you how they hide it. Okay. So what if we got a map of the world, right? So you got a map of the world. Here's the map of the world. And so we live here in America, and we don't have any communications with, we don't have ships, we don't have planes, we don't have radios, telephones, anything. All we know is here. We haven't gone across the ocean, right? Or anything, because we don't know any of these places exist. So you draw a circle, and we got America, Canada, a little bit of South America, right? And we cut out the rest of the world, and then we take it and we wrap it around a sphere, okay? And then you go to school, and they say, this is where you live, okay? This is where you live. This is all that there is, and you're not allowed to explore this white dot because there's penguins there. We need to protect the penguins and the ice, okay?
Yeah.
This is all there is. You don't know that Africa and Australia exist. And if somebody came over in an airplane, which you've never seen, you'd be like, oh my God, there are aliens from outer space. They're aliens from outer space. There are extraterrestrials from the outer space. So now let's take it a little bit bigger. What if we do live on this extended plane with all of these ponds? Okay. And we live right here at the center of this pond, right? Right here. Zoom it in. You're going to be able to see. Here we are. Here's America, Africa, South America, right? Australia. And they did the same thing. They cut it out. They wrapped it around a sphere. And they said, this is where you live, and you're not allowed to explore here. We'll let you go right here to Deception Island or Rothschild Island. We'll show you some ice. We'll show you some penguins, but you're not allowed to go out here because out here is out there. Right?
Yeah.
This is a prison for your mind. This is a prison for your mind. And if you believe you live here, you've cut off God's creation, and our minds create our reality. Our minds, expand the world that we live in. But if you're trapped in a prison, you can't think beyond it. They literally trapped our mind because they need our minds. Our minds manifest the world that we live in, and they're using us to stay trapped as slaves. They're doing such a good job that most of the NPCs, the useless eaters, I'm sorry, but that's what they call them. I'm just using their terms, are fighting for their own slavery. The ones that fight us, they're the ones that are fighting for their own slavery.
Man, yeah.
That's crazy.
Preach.
Yeah. Man, that's good. This is good.
That's good stuff. Well, David, I mean, we could like honestly, and we do. We are over at each other's houses. We pull all nighters. We go hours on end, and we could.
And our wives
easily do that with
appreciate
you.
that. They love it at 3 a.m. Be like, go home, please go home. Not your house.
You've been very generous.
When we first discovered Flat Earth, we didn't have Google Hangouts yet. We didn't have any of this stuff, right? We didn't. Skype was around, and Skype. I mean, Zoom wasn't around. Skype. We had Skype, and we'd go on these Skype calls till 5 o'clock in the morning. You know, we have people from all over the world, and we would just be talking about Flat Earth and researching and finding more and more proofs. But here we are now. Somehow, God willing, we have created this app that is waking people up, and we now have the power of big numbers. There's almost 110,000 people on the Friend Finder. If everybody just gifted or referred the app to one person a week, it would be over in less than a year because the numbers are going to grow massively, right? And maybe one day I can make the app for free because it'll be generating enough money to pay all of the server bills and all of the other stuff. But right now, it's literally $3, a friggin' no-brainer. Listen, anyone listening that thinks I'm in it for the money or it's too much, do not buy the app. Please go do something else. Go spend 500 hours looking for a tiny bit of information where you could have spent 2 hours and gotten a ton of information, right? Because your time isn't worth the $3. From what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, I know. We highly encourage, for our listening audience, we highly encourage that you go to all of Dave's material. Go get the app. And like I said, you've been super generous with your time. I think we've just about ran your voice into the ground. But on that point, you're welcome here anytime. We've had a blast. Yeah. And we hope, Lord willing, that you can come on more, and we can just shoot the breeze. And we hope that we can get out there to Las Vegas to the Flattober and see you there in person and get to meet you.
We're gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Lord willing,
we're gonna see you there, Dave.
So just all you have to remember is flatearthdave.com. And if you want to find my app, if you want to book me for a show, if you want to find all my social media, my YouTubes, my interviews channels, my latest interviews, I have a playlist, latest interviews. I said the app. Be careful on Google Play. There's a fake app out there put out by Globers with the same name. It's horrible. If you get it, don't send me a nasty email. Leave them a nasty review. Okay. Only if you feel like it. And then there's also there was something else on my website that I wanted to. Oh, the Flattoberfest, big banner right there. Can't miss it. Okay. Oh, one other thing. Excuse me. I have another site that's called stoplookthink.com that has all of the stuff on all of the other topics, some flat earth, but all of the stuff that YouTube no longer allows. All right. Stop, Look, Think. And there's a link on there which just started. When is this airing? When is this going to go live?
Airing probably a week and a half, 2 weeks.
All right. Yeah. Well, there goes that. Never mind. There's a new series. There's a new series that is out on by Ty Bollinger about how to detox from the magic juice that a lot of people took, and it's actually fascinating and it's free.
Yeah, really?
It's free. There's like 10 episodes or 13 episodes, and it's free for 1 day for each episode. So I wanted people to catch the free episode so they don't have to buy it, but it's there if you're looking for it. So it's what
was the name of that?
StopLookThink.com. Like if you're like, what about that New York event? What about that Connecticut school thing? What about the Boston Marathon? What about that newscaster that was shot? What about these plane crashes? What about new Cokes? What about airplanes not using the amount of fuel that they say, if they're using any fuel at all. What about all that stuff? It's all there. You just go to search up the conspiracy, search up the topic, and then watch the videos and make up your own mind. Don't believe anything.
I love that, Dave. That's awesome, man.
You're about to get even less amount of sleep.
I know. I was like,
listen, don't go there. Don't go there if you're worried about sleep.
I've got vacation coming up in 2 weeks, though, and I'm going to be vegging out. So I don't even. Yeah, we'll see how
you got to use your vacation just to.
And Flattoberfest, it's all about getting together with all these people. The presentations are going to be great, but it's going to be a blast. It's in Vegas. That way, it's kind of more international. There's people coming from the Netherlands. There's people coming from Australia. I mean, it's crazy, and it's going to be a blast. And the link is there. But on the app, this is it says Lost History, right? And then also in the homeschool section, the My Lunch Break guy is phenomenal. Is great stuff. And real just mind-blowing stuff in here. Careful, bring food and water because you go deep in here.
Very good. What's up, man?
Yeah, Dave, thank you so much for your time. We were so appreciative.
Yeah.
All right.
And, God willing, we'll get you back on again and talk a little more.
All right. Send me a link when this is up and I'll share it on the app.
Awesome.
Great.
Thank you, Dave.
God bless, Dave. Thanks, bud.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.